That America listens to. WVON, Berlin, Chicago. It's Matt McGill on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
All right. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm looking into a light. I see the light. The light of a new beginning. Black people are coming together. And it's because of WVON. How about that? The world is spinning right. And it's all because of this amazing radio station. During this amazing week of Black Power, as we celebrate Juneteenth. Can I get amen, everybody? I'm drinking straight lemon water. This is absolutely disgusting because all it is lemon grinded up in a blender and blended with hot water. But they say it's good for you, so who knows? You only live once, and then you're out of here. Brian House, wonderful Wednesday to you. What's happening? My brother, correctional officer, locked down. Salute to the fellow veterans out there, always, especially the bloods of the war, brother. No doubt about that, man. We need to celebrate and recognize our veterans more and more. You know, a terrible story happened. Saw this, don't know the details about it, but there was a story out about, of course, Milton Olive III and him being disrespected. That's Clarence Darrell, y'all. Milton Olive III, this American war hero, I heard that his picture or his name was removed from some kind of memorial and tribute at the either at Arlington Cemetery or part of the Pentagon. Disturbing. Chappie James, I heard his picture, the one and only Chappie James, who flew in so many sorties and battled in World War II and in Vietnam. Chappie James is the epitome of the Tuskegee Airmen. I heard that his image was brought down in the Pentagon. Pictures of him, or his picture was removed. I think I heard it was removed and placed elsewhere. They didn't want it where it was located, so they put it somewhere else. Just another example of this administration. I know there's some of you out there that want to swing on President Trump's nuts, but I think you also need to understand what this man has done to Black history, Black culture, especially during this week on Juneteenth. We cannot let up on him. We got to put our foot on his neck. Donald Trump is who he is. He's a charlatan. He's transactional. I agree with that, but he's a charlatan, and he has decided that he's going to lay his stake with white nationalists and white power. And he's decided that forget Black war heroes, Black veterans, Black contributors to this country, no matter, especially in the space of our military. He has decided that he's going to do away with that. And I don't think that Black Americans, we can sit by and do anything else but fight back on that, push back on that, and say, screw you, dude. I mean, am I wrong in that? Am I misreading who we are as Black people? Man. Brother correctional officer says, I would love to get Jesse Brown, VA. He said there's a patio and you would definitely be received. Let's do that, brother. Can you help me do that? I would absolutely do that. I've been talking about the VA hospital and Jesse Brown in particular in the space of veteran care, Black veteran care, and especially home health care, which we've got to watch because the federal government is impacting home health care. And there are a lot of our veterans that need home health care. Brother correctional officer for lockdown, help me on that, man. Let's do it. I'll look into it in fact, you know what? Tammy Duckworth is coming on today. I'll ask her about that. How about that? You can't get any better timing than that. Senator Tammy Duckworth on today's show. I'll run everything down to you when we come back. It's already 12:17. It's 12:18 now. President Trump touting what he considers to be the virtues of this memorandum of understanding, the agreement between the United States and Iran. We'll talk about that and a lot more. Everybody's on the board today because I'm not there, so I don't know who it is. It might be Matt. It might be Titus. It might be Shapira. I don't know. It might be Parker. It might be you. You might be working my board today. Anyway, I do know this, and that floor noise got WVON News until 1 o'clock. Logan after that. It's you, me, and the world. 591-1690. Matt McGill Show. Get up on it, everybody.
More from Matt McGill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Weather alert, traffic jam, emergency? Don't panic. Get the OEMC app. All the city updates right in your pocket. Fast, easy, ready whenever you are. Download now and stay one step ahead. Chicago's safety and weather info literally at your fingertips.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch. Like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
This is Rufus Williams, and I've got something special for you. I am proud to announce that we're launching the Rufus Williams Travel Club in conjunction with Advantage International. Our first trip, we're staying in the United States and heading to one of the most stunning destinations for culture to cuisine. Join us October 8th through 12th as we explore the charm, the beauty, and the history of Charleston, South Carolina. This isn't your typical getaway. We're walking through history and standing where our stories began. From the roots of Gullah Geechee culture to the International African American Museum, from cobblestone streets to waterfront views. This is more than a trip. It's a cultural vibe. To find out more, visit WVON.com and click the Rufus Williams Travel Club banner. And keep listening for more details. The Rufus Williams Travel Club will turn curiosity into understanding, one destination at a time. We are WVON.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik. You've seen him on cable TV. Now hear his spirited conversation on the Talk of Chicago. The question at hand is raising voices of the Negro. That plain and simple. Tune in every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for Speak On It with Dr. Kofi Malik on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. You never know who's going to stop by WVON.
We are esteemed and privileged to be joined by R&B legend, the one and only Stephanie Mills.
Good to be talking to you guys.
None other than our Democratic senatorial candidate, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratt. Lieutenant Governor, welcome back to WVON.
Good morning, Rufus. And you know, I'll never be too busy to join you on WVON.
Rep. Justin Pearson is joining us right now via stream.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, we're back. Interesting weather day outside. I am sitting here watching and listening to the wind as it's blowing hard. As many of you probably already know if you've been outside, these last couple of weeks we've had a lot of weather, no doubt about it. Trees have been blown down, and it's been hard, very hard for the city to keep up, man. This is not a criticism at all. I'm sure a lot of you would like to point fingers and criticize the city. But what has happened over the last week or so has been more than a notion, guys. It really has been. For any city, any mayor, anybody that would be in charge would be hard challenged to try to get things up and going, because there's just a lot going on out there. And now we have this additional wind coming in today, potentially tornado type winds. I've been watching television, as I'm sure many of you have been as well. Potentially some strong winds coming. Tomorrow, of course, is the big day at the Obama Center, where President Obama, who's in town, I'm sure the First Lady is in town, as well as many of celebrities and dignitaries will be touching down today and being a part of the opening ceremonies tomorrow. So the weather tomorrow looks like it's going to be nice, a little breezy, maybe a little lower temperature than normal, but I don't think anybody would complain about 70-degree temperature this time of year. In fact, it will remind you of the Bay Area. If you've ever been out to San Francisco in the summertime, it's a little chilly in San Francisco, but it's beautiful, man. The sun is shining. It's a little cool out there, but it is beautiful, and it leaves an impression on you. I will say this. People talk about San Francisco. It leaves an impression, an imprint on your mind when you go out there in the summertime and you experience this. You see this city that looks so different than Chicago. I think for Chicagoans, it really is a brain teaser, so to speak, because the city just looks so different than Chicago. You have, these clear skies, and you have this like little cool weather like it is today and like it's going to be tomorrow. And it's nice. It's just beautiful. You're looking at the city with all these hills and this terrain out there in the bay and all this, and you're like, wow, this is interesting. You leave, you come back to Chicago, and half of your brain is still in San Francisco. That's why They say I left my heart in San Francisco. Hey, that's putting aside that you might get lucky and hook up, right? So if you hook up, you really left your heart in San Francisco. I'm sure that is what happened to whoever wrote that amazing song for Tony Bennett back in the day. All right, let's open up phone lines at 591-1694. Some good conversation, no pontificating, just comments about what's going on out there in the world. President Trump, we saw, or at least I'm sure some of you saw him speaking about this memorandum of understanding, which is a new one for us, right? We've heard of deals before, and now we're hearing about memorandums of understanding. And a lot of us are trying to figure out what the hell that means, right? Well, President Trump says it means a good deal has happened. He was full of compliments for Iran, believe it or not, and their leadership. Complimented China. He's always going to compliment Vladimir Putin and Russia. He did that very swiftly. Very Trump-like in how he explained this deal. He kind of glossed over a lot of it, of course, because all it is from what we've heard, it's a page-and-a-half memorandum of understanding about what is going to happen. But there are so many unanswered questions, mainly Israel, Lebanon, more fighting going on, money that's going to be released to Iran, $300 billion. The president tried to basically, I heard President Trump say the exact same thing that President Barack Obama said and why he was releasing money to Iran. So all the criticism that President Trump levied on President Obama years ago for releasing money to Iran, this man is doing the exact same thing times 30. The amount of money he's recently giving to Iran. Oh, it's not our money. It's not U.S. taxpayer money. Well, neither was the money that President Obama gave. You see? So you got to watch the news. You got to pay attention to what's going on. You got to be critical. You can't get caught up in emotion. And look who's talking. Me, Mr. Emotion, who yells all the time on radio, right? It's just amazing. This deal gets us back to where we were with the JCPOA and so much more for Iran. And so much. They're going to get more money. They're going to be able to bolster their military. They're going to be able to still will and deal. They are still going to control the Straits of Hormuz. That's another one of their lanes of income there, man. They sell protection. Iran is like they're like the mafia, the American mafia, man. You can open up that Strait of Hormuz, but then you still got to deal with Iran. Iran's like, hey, now you know you could get attacked now. You know something can happen. So if you want protection, you got to cough up some chips, baby. We'll make sure you get through, right? But you got to go talk to Sal. Go talk to Sal over there. He's going to tell you how you can make sure that your ships are going to come through without, God forbid, Allah forbid that a drone strike happens on your oil rig or any other petro products that bring money to those Gulf countries. Iran is the big daddy over there, guys. And they were going to make sure that did not change. See, Donald Trump thought that we were going to go over there with Israel. We were going to hold Israel's hand and walk them through the Gulf and put them in control of all of the commerce that happens over there. And Iran was like, no, that is not going to happen. This memorandum of understanding, we'll see. We will see. What the understanding is that Iran is still in charge of the strait. Iran's about to get $300 billion. Iran is about to make $1 billion a day on selling oil. Iran's about to bolster their military capability with this money and pursue nuclear energy, even though they say they're not, because this memorandum of understanding leaves a lot of space for disagreement, and we've seen that disagreement already. So that's out there. All right, it is 12:30. Obadeli's going to come on, I believe, and talk about the state's budget, which Governor Pritzker signed. That's in the news. I don't know if it's a big story or not, but he'll break some of it down to us. Senator Tammy Duckworth is coming on at 2:00. I have not looked at my rundown, so I'm a terrible, terrible host. But that's just how I roll, right? Kayla Patton with WVON News right now, y'all.
Gloomy and wet with a high of 71. Good afternoon. I'm Kayla Patton, and here's what's happening. Last hour, Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle joined by St. Sabina's father Michael Flager and other county leaders to announce a new $20 million investment in community violence intervention.
Today, we're announcing two important investments. First, we're awarding $5 million through the Cook County Community Violence Intervention Grant Initiative. And secondly, we're launching a new funding opportunity that will invest an additional $15 million in community violence intervention later this year.
Pam Bosley, Executive Director of the St. Sabina Violence Prevention Center, says her group supports families where children's lives were taken away by violence, which she lost her own 18-year-old son to back in 2006.
The murder of my son transformed my pain into purpose and led me to dedicate my life to helping other families like myself that's impacted by gun violence. So I want to take this time and thank President Tony Preckwinkle and the Cook County for your investment in community violence intervention and for recognizing that violence prevention requires a comprehensive approach that addresses both immediate crisis and long-term healing.
June is Gun Violence Awareness Month. The month began in 2013 after 15-year-old honor student Haidia Pendleton was shot and killed just a week after performing at President Obama's second inaugural celebration. More severe weather is headed our way. Grab your umbrellas or plan to stay inside because Chicago is gearing up for heavy winds and a lot more rain tonight. The National Weather Service says it's tracking tornadoes expected to touch down in outlining areas, potentially bringing down power lines and trees. ComEd is on standby. We are currently under a level 3 flooding risk and winds up to 80 miles per hour. Chicago Alderman Ray Lopez is making another effort to hold parents accountable when crimes are committed during teen takeovers. Perry Williams has more.
Lopez is expected to introduce a revised ordinance during today's city council session. The proposed measure would allow parents to be fined $1,000 on a first offense. Meanwhile, Mayor Johnson supports more opportunities for youth instead.
I'm going to continue to call for the level of opportunity and investment. And when individuals act outside of the confines of the construction of the law, those individuals should be held accountable.
I'm Perry Williams.
The Obama Presidential Center is set to open this week in Chicago's Jackson Park. Early June 19th, look out for several street closures, including Midway Plaisance from Dorchester to Stony Islands, Blackstone from 59th Street to Midway Plaisance, Cornell Street, Harper, Dorchester, and Woodlawn. The private grand opening celebration begins tomorrow on Thursday. And then on Friday, be sure to keep it locked into WVON for our special live coverage of the Juneteenth grand opening to the public. That's a look at our news now on 1690 WVON. I'm Kayla Patton.
It's D.L. Hughley.
If it weren't for the Black Panthers, American children wouldn't have free breakfast. Now, I don't know many groups that are only bad that feed children. The Klan only gave us Burning Cross. I guess you could warm your breakfast up on one.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on WVON. I am bringing you a national perspective on all the happenings in the Black community and, of course, politics. It's talk radio for us, by us, and this is where America listens.
It's Tavis Smiley, weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no. So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning. The cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, we're back. I see my low-end brother Rodney Ware on the live line. The correctional officers from the low end as well. Who else did I see? Somebody said, Stephanie Allen, I wish I could be inside, but I have tickets for the watch party at Midway Plaisance. I have tickets for the watch party at Midway Plaisance. Why is it called Midway Plaisance? Do we have a French influence in the architecture? I think that was Daniel Burnham who created that parkway, the Midway Plaisance. We'd have to do some research on that. Our next guest might be able to tell us that. Eleanor Gorski is an architect and serves as the CEO and president of the Chicago Architecture Center. She is moderating a forum on Saturday with the architects of the Obama Presidential Center. Eleanor, welcome to WVON. Hey, this is a great honor for you happening on Saturday.
Hi, nice to be here, Matt. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, are you looking? I know you're looking forward to it. How do you feel? Are you nervous about this, or is this right in your wheelhouse and you're chomping at the bit and you can't wait?
Oh my gosh, I've already been twice. I went to some of the pre-opening walkthroughs where they were still fixing things and getting it all in order. I am so excited to see the public there too, and to have a panel discussion with the architects to talk about how they feel about the completed project.
You know, what was interesting is, you know, those of us who live on the South Side and go through that area every day, we were watching the construction, and I got to admit, and my daughter works over there, right? My daughter works for the Obama Center, and I got to admit, I was constantly like, what the hell? This thing looks crazy, and what the hell is going on? You know, my daughter's name's Peyton, so I'd be Peyton. The building looks ugly. What the hell is happening? And she would be like, would you just wait until it's done? Would you please just wait until she was always telling me that. And then guess what? You know, when they put the finishing touches on it, now it looks like a piece of art. There's something that an architect, somebody like you would appreciate. What are your thoughts about it, including the evolution that I'm talking about as well? Because I'm sure you probably saw all.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son was in school down there, so I would drive by every day too. And when, you know, it was just concrete going up the tower, it, you know, you didn't know what the finished product would look like. But the interesting thing is it was developed to be a campus, the whole complex. And this goes back to the ancient Roman forum idea. And in fact, they have a gathering space called the Forum there, where you have things for everyone. So you have learning, you have a museum, you have a restaurant, you have a garden. So now that it's all together and we see the landscape and you can understand that concept, I think it's magnificent. And the cladding, the stone they put on the outside of the building, and talking with the architects, the tower has, it's called a highly figured stone, meaning it has a lot of pattern in it. And the same stone, but more subdued, is used for the other buildings. And that's to really make the tower stand out and to change when it gets wet in the rain. So it looks very dynamic.
Well, you know, I mean, we're talking about Chicago here. So the standard of architecture, the bar is very high.
That's right.
Right. I mean, so I'm sure the architects, you're going to be talking to the architects of the Obama Presidential Center on Saturday. Tell me about that, and what would some of your questions be? What should we like? What would the average person appreciate somebody like you asking the architects?
Well, you know, that's what we pride ourselves at the Architecture Center on, is we kind of bridge between the public who appreciates architecture and the people who create it. So that's why we're excited to do this. And the title of the discussion is the making of the Obama Presidential Center a forum talk, because we're meeting in the forum, which is the auditorium right there on campus. And who will be there are the architects, Todd Williams and Billy Chen, Renault Mitchell with Moody Nolan, and Matthew Bird, who's with the landscape architecture firm Michael Van Valkenburg Associates. So first I'm going to ask them, how did they all work together well? I mean, who was in charge of the design? Where did they have disagreements? How did home court come into this, which is the basketball court on the south side?
You know the answer to that question. That's President Obama all day.
But it's a very different style, right? It's very modern. So I want to find out why does that style stand out? I also want to ask about the playground. How did that design evolve? And, they used a lot of the trees that they cut down on the site to build some of the playground equipment. So I want to find out more about that. There's also grills up on the roof. I want to find out what community members can use those grills and can garden.
That is the million.
I want to put my reservation in and have a party.
Eleanor, that is the $1 million.
That's amazing.
Eleanor, that is going to be the best question. I had Valerie Jarrett on last week, right?
Yeah, did you ask?
I should. Yeah, Eleanor, I needed you. Where were you? Oh, that's funny. But you know what? What I did ask her though, and this is connected to your interview, right? Because I asked her a question similar to what you're probably going to be asking the architects there. I was like, you've got all these people that are contributing to this project, right?
Yeah.
You've got the architects, you've got artistic historians, artistic design, interior design, historians, I went down the list with Valerie, right? And I've interviewed Valerie several times, so we're real comfortable talking to each other. That's not an issue at all. And I was like, Valerie, I was like, how did all of that? Pretty much the question you're going to ask these architects: how does all of that get managed to this finished product, this end product? And you know what she said? She said, "There's only one name on the door." Mr. Obama. I said, okay.
Yeah.
This is their vision.
Well, she's right, but I want to see how, the sausage got made. I want the behind the scenes. So we'll see if we can get some of that.
No, I think that's a great question, because I think in the spirit of the question that I was asking Valerie, you really want to know, when you have all of this creativity, right? All of this energy, including President Obama. What do we know? What we learned about President Obama over his 8 years was that he was this guy. He wasn't a dictator. He wasn't it's my way or the highway kind of guy, right? We know that he was this guy that listened to people. He understood the pulse of America. He understood the pulse of his advisors and his cabinet members, and he governed collectively. At the end of the day, he knew that he had to make the decisions, and that he was the president of the United States, and good, bad, he was going to get the praise and he was going to get the blame. He knew that. And so, so this process that you're talking about with the architects, I think it's a great question, and I'd be curious how they're going to answer it. But it's a question, because you have so much creative energy in a project like this, and everybody wants to contribute. You have to kind of like, how do you make this sausage and get the end result, the sausage? That's amazing.
That's right. Yeah. And, I have to tell you, again, being there a few times leading up to this talk, I'm just blown away at the quality. That's what stands out to me, that in a lot of our recent public buildings, the quality hasn't been there like you would see in buildings from, the 1920s, 30s, 40s in Chicago. It just hasn't been, because we haven't had the drive to do things like that. But this building is a gem for the South Side. And I hope that it spurs more people to think about putting quality in public buildings. But the finishes, everything in it, it's just spectacular.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to go by. You're right. And one of the things, I saw a write-up on the building, and they were saying how everybody was asking, where are the windows? When you go into this building, you understand why there aren't windows, right? Because they number one, there's so much inside that you can enjoy, but also there's a lot to be protected in this building as well from sunlight, right? There's a lot of some very historic stuff in there that needs to be protected. So look, I'm gonna take a break though, Eleanor. When we come back though, I do want to ask you some more questions and about the Chicago Architecture Center, and you mentioned public buildings and the quality of public buildings, and there's always pressure on architects to deliver to a Chicago standard, right? Mies van der Rohe and Frank Lloyd Wright to a lesser degree. Obviously Frank Lloyd Wright was more residential, but people like Mies van der Rohe and the history and the legacy of some of the amazing architects, the skyline, the history, the Chicago fire created for architects all over the world to come to this city with money and world-class economy to build. And so I would imagine every architect that decides I'm gonna put my stamp on a building in the city of Chicago. I mean, it's almost like the restaurant industry, right? You sure you wanna dance with these guys? This is the big leagues here, buddy. This is the big leagues here. Let's talk about that and a lot more with Eleanor Gorski. She is an architect and CEO and president of the Chicago Architecture Center. We're going to find out about that and where it is, all of that and a lot more on the Matt McGill Show when we return.
More from Matt McGill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This June on Vaughn TV, the culture takes center stage. First, dive into the stories behind today's biggest names in music with a new original series, now trending hip-hop. From the lyrical mastery of Kendrick Lamar, the fearless creativity of Doechii, to the genre-bending brilliance of Doja Cat and Tyler, the Creator. Discover how these artists are shaping music, culture, and the future of hip-hop.
Chart-topping, genre-bending, culture-defining. These are the new voices. The digital poets of a generation raised on hustle, hashtags, and heartbreak. They're not waiting for a seat at the table. They're building their own. This is more than music. This is a movement. This is hip-hop.
And for music lovers who appreciate where it all began, don't miss Echoes Across the Tracks, the history of the blues. Narrated by Morgan Freeman, this powerful documentary traces the roots of the blues from the Mississippi Delta to its worldwide impact, exploring the music that helped generations endure, inspire, and overcome.
You ever go into any club and they're playing that kind of music, it's not rock and roll, it's blues. It's blues rock or blues, whatever, it's got that backbeat on it.
From the roots of the blues to the future of hip-hop, it's all happening this June on Vaughn TV. Stream anytime on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and at Vaughn TV.
Hey, child.
Many serious eye diseases develop without early warning signs. That's why regular comprehensive eye exams are important. Even if your vision seems fine, early detection can help protect your sight for years to come. This healthy reminder is sponsored in part by Dr. Ansel T. Johnson and Vision Salon Eye Care Associates.
We've been honoring Juneteenth long before it was a holiday, and this year the celebration continues at the Bronzeville Children's Museum's 27th annual Juneteenth celebration. Join us this Saturday, June 20th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. for a powerful day of fun, learning, and cultural pride. Bring the whole family out for storytelling, music, crafts, singing, and a meaningful balloon release, all in the name of freedom and community. It's all happening at the Bronzeville Children's Museum, 9301 South Stony Island Avenue in Chicago. Admission is free. Come experience the Bronzeville Children's Museum's 27th annual Juneteenth celebration, a powerful tribute to history, heritage, and hope for our children. Want more info or ready to reserve your spot? Call 773-721-9301. That's 773-721-9301. Come celebrate Juneteenth where it matters at the Bronzeville Children's Museum.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
This Juneteenth, Vine TV invites you to celebrate the journey, the resilience, and the promise of Black America. Black excellence then, now, next. Join us for a full day of special programming, honoring the stories that shaped us and the future we're building together. See Otis's dream, one man's perilous journey to cast his ballot in rural Georgia in 1946.
Wounded, but never give up. Denied, but never accepting that denial. Insulted, but refusing to accept the insult inwardly, and thereby setting an example and a memory for generations unborn.
Then experience the premiere of an original Vine TV production, WVON Chicago Read In Literacy Live. Through music, spoken word, dance, and theatrical storytelling, books come alive in an unforgettable event designed to educate, inspire, and uplift. Black excellence then, now, next. All day Juneteenth. Only on Vine TV. Vine TV is available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or at VON.tv. Vine TV. Honor the past, celebrate the present, inspire the future.
Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, we're back. As you guys know, we're celebrating Black Music Month all month on WVON. It sounds like today our artist is Michael Jackson, of course. If you live in Chicago, if you're my age and you live in Chicago, you know the strong Chicago connection to Michael, the Jackson 5 in the city of Chicago, the Regal Theater that used to be in Bronzeville back in the day, the stage where the Jackson 5 were discovered, basically. But they played clubs all around the city of Chicago. Purvis Mann, our CEO in emeritus here at WVON, was one of their first managers and helped the Jackson 5 on their path to Motown and to world fame. Michael, of course, no doubt about it. We'll be playing Michael songs all day today. I'm sure we'll hit some of your favorites. I'm going to put in my requests, so you're going to hear some of my favorite Michael Jackson songs today as well. Our guest is Eleanor Gorski. She is a Chicago architect. Also worked with the city in the planning department, so she knows all about urban planning and the Chicago skyline and the balance of this city. When it comes to architecture and the communities, we've got 77 neighborhoods, and all of those neighborhoods are distinct, yet there's symmetry around the city when it comes to architecture and urban planning. And all of that has been important over the years. The Obama Center, Presidential Center, is the latest addition, but Eleanor, and working with the city, I'm sure, and just being an architect, has seen it all in the city of Chicago. I was pronouncing her name wrong. I kept saying Gorski, and she was so kind not to correct me. I apologize for that, Eleanor. But
no worries.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here with us, though. So, but the work that you have done over the years with the city, that had to be a highlight of your career to even be working with the city Department of Planning and to oversee some of these amazing projects and just the integrity of architecture in the city of Chicago, huh?
Oh my God, it certainly was. And the best part is I got to know the entire city. I worked for, as you mentioned, the planning department, and I've been in every community area and really got to know the community groups and the alders. It was an honor to do that work, and I'm happy to continue it here at CAC.
I love it. Tell me about, because look, this building is the latest. But obviously, you're CEO of the Chicago Architecture Center. Tell us about that and the scope of work that you guys do there and appreciating the rich tradition of architecture here in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, so we were founded in 1966. And the reason why we were founded, it was a group of citizens who saw urban renewal. You may recall that from your history books coming through the city.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it hit every corner of the city and it created our highways, right? And a lot of other big public works. But what was in the path of these highways and other work were our historic neighborhoods and our historic buildings. So our founders came together and said, look, there is an important house on the south side that we want to save, and they bought it. It's called the Glessner House, and it's still with us today. It's on Prairie Avenue. And out of that, they started to bring awareness to citizens around the city that you can do something. You can preserve places in your neighborhoods. And we've continued to do that for 60 years. And that's also why we started our boat tour, to bring awareness to the river and the health of the river and the buildings around it. And we continue to do that work today. And I'm happy to say we do tours all over the city. And the speaking engagement that I have on Saturday is part of that, to understand architecture and architects better. And we're focusing on the Obama Library now.
I'd love to have you back on the show so we can talk about more Chicago architecture and how my listeners can learn more about the city and their neighborhoods, the neighborhoods they live in and some of the history of the buildings. Absolutely. We need that. So I want to find out more about the Chicago Architecture Center. But I know Saturday is going to be a big day for you. And I know you're looking for, and you've been there several times. So you've seen this amazing building, and I can't wait to see and hear and experience it again myself. I think I'm gonna be at the watch party tomorrow, just to kind of suck some of it in, and then I got to run back to the studio, of course, to do the show. But I'm looking forward to it and getting some more of your thoughts. I know this is a big weekend for you, and thank you for coming on the show. How can our listeners stay in touch and find out more about Chicago architecture?
Yeah, well, visit us on the web, www.architecture.org. And we have another big festival coming up that hopefully your listeners have been to. If not, they need to come this year. Open House Chicago. It is in October.
Yes.
And it is the weekend after the marathon. I don't know the date offhand, but we have over 200 buildings open throughout the city, and it's free. And there's tours, there's events, there's a lot of stuff that happens with it. So I hope to see you there, and look us up online.
I love it. Eleanor Gorski, the Chicago architect and CEO of Chicago Architecture Center. I look forward. Can I call you every time I have a question about architecture on the show?
I hope so. We're the first.
So much for us to learn about.
Otherwise, all right.
Okay. Good luck on Saturday, my sister. I'm sure you're going to knock it out the park. Yes.
Thanks so much.
All right, let's take a break here. It's 1 o'clock at the 1 o'clock hour. All right, I stand corrected. It's not Michael Jackson. It's Quincy Jones that we're celebrating. I've got some Quincy Jones songs then that I'm going to recommend to our DJ as we continue into the 1 o'clock hour. Phone lines are open at 591. Thank you, Keisha Shavers, for telling me that. My former producer texted me to correct me on that. 591-1690. What's on your mind? The 1 o'clock hour is coming up next.
Happy Wednesday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here are your news headlines. Flood watch issued ahead of serious storms today. People living near Obama Presidential Center seek increased housing protections. E-waste push targets China and U.S. rare earth pipeline, and CDC gives an update on Ebola. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Here's BIN News Now. The city of Chicago is celebrating Juneteenth. Tuesday, Mayor Brandon Johnson and other city leaders gathered for the annual Juneteenth flag raising ceremony.
It was a celebration of liberation, a celebration of resilience, and a celebration of people who never stopped believing in a just and a better tomorrow.
The federal holiday commemorates the ending of slavery in the United States. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says the Buckeye State should abolish the death penalty. DeWine said he no longer believes capital punishment deters murder, citing waits of more than 20 years between sentencing and execution. DeWine says state lawmakers would have to take action to end the death penalty. And Mystical is being sentenced to 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to raping a woman in his home in Louisiana in 2022. The victim was in court Tuesday and asked for the maximum sentence. I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News. Now, back to you, Terry.
President Trump speaking out on efforts to end the war with Iran.
We have our deal done with Iran, and it should be successful. It goes to a second stage, which I think will be actually easier.
Following a meeting with the Emir of Qatar on the sidelines of the G7 summit in France yesterday, Trump told reporters that the U.S. would not be investing in Iran, despite what he called a rumor making the rounds. Back at home, the Senate just barely rejecting a war powers resolution on Iran. Black Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia led the action.
After 109 days of a failed war, and now a fragile, temporary, but welcome truce, will my Republican colleagues choose today to finally stand up to this president? Will my colleagues say enough is enough to the president who ran as a candidate promising no new wars?
Senators rejected a motion to discharge the resolution out of committee in a 47-48 vote, and lawmakers are pushing for more information about terms in the deal, which would direct the president to remove the United States Armed Forces from hostilities within or against Iran unless authorized by a declaration of war. Congress passing the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act in 2015, it stipulates that any deal relating to Iran's nuclear program must be submitted to Congress prior to sanctions being lifted. California Governor Gavin Newsom is facing over $31,000 in fines for failure to report millions of dollars in charitable donations made on his behalf in time. He was fined by the Fair Political Practices Commission a week before he announced a federal investigation targeting he and his wife. The $5.6 million in donations, known as behested payments, came from 35 donors, including Apple. Most of the money went to the California Fire Foundation during the Los Angeles wildfires last year. Over a third of Americans are projecting a grim view of the nation's future, according to a newly released Reuters Ipsos poll. 38% of respondents said the U.S. is not going to exist 250 years from now, while 62% thought it would. Taking a look along party lines, 40% of Democrats said the U.S. will not endure for another 250 years, and 26% of Republicans agreed. Polling also found 64% of respondents said American democracy was in danger of failing, which is up from about 60% in August. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
Drinking enough water is important at every age. Hydration supports energy, digestion, and healthy body function. And that's your healthy reminder.
This healthy reminder is sponsored in part by OSF Complete Care 55+.
Hey, baby! I'm your Magnolia Blues man, Sir Henry Cheatham, inviting you to join us
Mr. Big Stuff, tell me.
on WVON 1690 for some real American music and culture. Here on Classic Blues and R&B. Check us out Saturday, 11 p.m. until 2 a.m. on WVON and Classic Blues and R&B.
Father's Day is Sunday, June 21st, and WVON invites you to honor the fathers and father figures who have made a lasting impact on your life. Whether it's your father, grandfather, uncle, mentor, coach, or another special man who helped guide your journey, we want to hear your tribute. Call 773-336-3456 and leave a heartfelt message, or download the WVON app and use the open mic feature to record your greeting. Your message may be featured on the air, so be sure to tell your family and friends to tune in, because every great story has someone who helped write it. This Father's Day, help us celebrate the men who made a difference. Call 773-336-3456 or download the WVON app and use the open mic feature to leave a message. Happy Father's Day from the Talk of Chicago, WVON.
Protect your money and build your wealth. Sundays at 3 p.m. Host and owners of Top and Top Insurance Agency, Clydell and Betty Top, teach you about protecting your assets, 401ks, annuities, life after retirement, the differences and benefits of life insurance. And they take questions. Their advice can enhance your financial future and your legacy. Call for a free WVON financial consultation, 773-881-8110. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. to protect your money and build your wealth. Powered by Top and Top Insurance Agency.
At WVON, we are Black and proud and Black in pride.
We are the dream that refused to die, born from hands that picked cotton, but carried kingdoms in their memory, born from backs bent by labor, but never broken in spirit, born from songs whispered in darkness, where hope traveled farther than chains could reach. We remember them. The mothers who prayed over impossible tomorrows, the fathers who carried dignity where none was offered, the elders who taught us that freedom is not simply something granted, it is something claimed, protected, and passed on. We remember June 19th, 1865, not as the beginning of freedom, but as a declaration that truth eventually arrives, that justice, though delayed, can never permanently outrun destiny, that a people who survived the unimaginable could never be defined by what was done to them. We are descendants of endurance, of builders and believers, of inventors and educators, of entrepreneurs and artists, of farmers, soldiers, preachers, organizers, and dreamers. Every step we take echoes the footsteps of those who walked before us. And look at us now, creating, leading, teaching, serving, innovating, raising families, building businesses, changing communities. We are writing new chapters with the ink of old courage. So today we celebrate the ancestors who carried us. And with gratitude in our hearts and vision in our eyes, we move forward together, honoring our ancestors, protecting our history, waving our red, black, and green flags in solidarity as we embrace our now, so we can boldly build our next. Happy Juneteenth from WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios, it's the station that America listens to, WVON, Berwyn, Chicago. It's Matt McGill on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
It was only yesterday that I was born. The world was looking cold and lonely. Had a face so long it almost touched the ground. In my eye, I just want you to cry. But you came and said to me.
All right, we're back. Our artist of the day with a Chicago connection is Quincy Jones. You guys know Q and the impact that Quincy Jones had on the music industry as a number one. As Quincy Jones started out as a trumpet player, I believe. In fact, I don't have to guess. I can just Google it, right? But I think he had some kind of brain injury, and it forced him to stop playing the trumpet. And he became a composer and worked with Frank Sinatra and some of the greats of the day back then, and then started, his own little R&B groove as a producer and put music together and featuring. Quincy was known for featuring artists and giving them their opportunity to showcase their talent, man. Patty Austin and James Ingram, Sadia Garrett, among others, so many, putting them on his albums, songs that he was writing and producing, and then he would put these amazing voices on, and they would go on and have an outstanding career of their own, right? That's what Q was all about, man. The man was a power broker, a mover, a shaker. He was a ladies' man, no doubt about it, for a while there doing his thing. Children who are accomplished in their own right and doing their thing. Brian House, correctional officer. Christy M. Van Riesen, good day to you as well. Mike Burries says the solution is that we switch black people to a third political party for political leverage. I'm not against that, my brother. And he talks about the literacy-based Promotion Act in Mississippi, which has improved their state reading scores substantially and noteworthy. Candy Bennett, good afternoon, Maddie Matt and the WVON family, always sharing the show. Thank you, my sister. In fact, everybody share the show right now. Correctional officer on lockdown brother said, hey, man, look, we got to get the VA on, the Jesse Brown VA. We should. We need to celebrate our black veterans and make sure that they're getting proper care. Brother correctional officer says that correctional officer, you got to tell me your name, man, because I know you're a low-end brother, and so I can call you by your name, my brother. I feel like we know each other, but I'm not sure. You said fit in for hosting your show from the Jesse Brown VA Center. I would love to host a show there at the Jesse Brown VA Center there. And on the patio, let's do it, man. Monica Cyprian, hello, Maddie Matt, peace and joy. Rodney Ware, my low-end brother, 46th and 49th. Damn, right? 49th Street. I got love for 49th and 46th Street. When I was a kid growing up on the low end, we went down to 46th Street a lot. I had, in fact, people I went to grammar school with on the low end that went to school that lived on 46. And, of course, 49th Street was where we went and got it in, man, on the playgrounds, right there, Harding Playground, and all of that. The staff at the Obama Center are sheltering in place right now because of high winds. I should have my daughter call in. Let's see. Let's go to the phone lines. Lee, welcome to WVON. What's on your mind?
Hey, Matt. Good afternoon. So listen, I talked to you enough for you to know that, yeah, I've served it 26 years. And I don't know if you've heard, but the MOU between the United States and Iran has finally come out. And, brother, when I tell you, Matt, my heart is breaking because of all the service members that got killed or hurt, all of the pain that we suffered with high prices, gas. Matt, when you get a chance, CNN, the Associated Press, all of the places that are reputable and care about journalism has released that. When you get a chance to read it, my brother, and it will just make you either angry or very, very disappointed. Because, Matt, we gave them everything. We gave them $300 billion. We lift all sanctions. We make sure that we can never, in the MOU, we will not come in and do any military operations with them, against them anymore. They will be the ones who, under the guide of the IAEA, will dispose of their enriched uranium. And that's it. That's all they have to do, Matt. And everything else they ask for, everything that the Trump administration have been lying that they didn't do, they did. They gave them everything. It reminds me of 300 when Leonidas said, take from them everything but give them nothing. That's what the Republic of Iran has done to us. They have, Matt, they have made us come to them almost on our knees and beg them to stop a war we started. And so the only thing that might hold this deal up is Israel is still in Lebanon. And Netanyahu then said they're not giving up the land that they've taken. So that's the only clause in this MOU. When you get a chance, you read it. The only clause is that all hostilities in Lebanon and all forces in Lebanon have to be removed. Now, whether Israel does that, we are about to finally see if the U.S. has sway over Israel.
Yeah, we're going to see it.
He's going to definitely ask Netanyahu or tell him that he has to pull out all those troops. But I'm just saying, man, being in the military, and I don't want people to think this is why I tell their children, or they tell their children, don't join. Don't do that, because if they do join, Matt, they get education, they get a skill, they get to travel. This is just an ignorant moment in our time. And I just want to tell everybody, listen, my heart breaks for those soldiers and sailors and airmen and anybody else that was injured or killed, because what was their blood shed for? What did they die for? If we turn around, Matt, and build a new house for someone whose house we destroyed, what does that say about us now as Americans?
Yeah, but I mean, brother, are we surprised about? I mean, here's the thing.
I'm surprised. I didn't think it would be this bad. I didn't think he would do this bad, and then have people still stand behind and say he's the greatest, and he's making this. Man, I'm trying to hold my emotions. Man, this is insane if you read this. Surely insane, brother. So take a chance, read it. Let me know what you think, man. And thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome. You're welcome, brother. I mean, you know, Donald Trump is the epitome to me. I hate to say this because it's shameful to say, but at the end of the day, Donald Trump is almost the epitome of an American president, right? See, we've had presidents, and it's interesting because Barack Obama is a little different, a lot different than Donald Trump. But Donald Trump kind of takes us back to imperialism, colonialism. That's why his whole legacy is based on "Make America Great Again," right? Because it's on this focus of, we are America. We are the big guys. We get what we want. We do what we want, whatever we want. Consequences come later. We don't worry about what's going to happen down the road. I mean, there's nothing surprising about what America has done. That we went into Iran. We created a war for Israel, not for the United States of America. It harkens back to capitalism. Donald Trump thought he was going to go into Iran and do what he did in Venezuela. And people were telling him, dude, Iran is not Venezuela. But he obviously had enough people behind him to tell him, man, you go in there. You Donald Trump. You know who you are. You Donald Trump. This is the United States of America. Big head idiots like Stephen Miller, racist bigot Stephen Miller, and Donald Trump followed their advice. And Iran just sat back, took their beating, took the bombing, and just sat back and chilled and said, we got control over some. We know what we don't have control over, but we absolutely know what we do have control over. And to your point, brought America back on their knees, basically saying, hey, can you open up the straits for us, please? And we'll do this. We'll give you money back. We'll give you back more than Obama gave you back. And you'll still have control. Just sign this this memorandum of agreement. Just sign this and say that you won't pursue nuclear. You know what I'm saying? No, get this bull crap out of here. This is your president. 591-1690, Matt McGill Show.
More from Matt McGill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This Juneteenth, Vine TV invites you to celebrate the journey, the resilience, and the promise of Black America. Black excellence then, now, next. Join us for a full day of special programming, honoring the stories that shaped us and the future we're building together. See Otis's dream, one man's perilous journey to cast his ballot in rural Georgia in 1946.
Wounded, but never give up. Denied, but never accepting that denial. Insulted, but refusing to accept the insult inwardly, and thereby setting an example and a memory for generations unborn.
Then experience the premiere of an original Vine TV production, WVON Chicago Read In Literacy Live. Through music, spoken word, dance, and theatrical storytelling, books come alive in an unforgettable event designed to educate, inspire, and uplift. Black excellence then, now, next. All day, Juneteenth. Only on Vine TV. Vine TV is available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV Plus, the WVON app, or at VON.TV. Vine TV. Honor the past, celebrate the present, inspire the future.
Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
This is Dr. Ansel Johnson, Clinical Director at Vision Salon Eye Care Associates. Your eyes are telling a story, but are you listening? What many people don't know, your eyes can show the very first signs of diabetes, hypertension, and glaucoma before you feel a single symptom. At Vision Salon, we used advanced imaging technologies that see every layer of the inside of the eye in great detail, catching damage years before it affects your vision, mapping your eye's blood vessels without needles. This is Oculomics. Using your eyes as a window into your whole body's health, it can be life-changing. If you or family members live with diabetes, hypertension, or glaucoma, or other chronic disease, don't wait. Call or text 708-385-0013. Again, 708-385-0013. Visit visionsalon.com today. Be well, see well, and be blessed.
I was having a medical procedure, and I wanted to ensure my kids would get my home should something happen to me. I called attorney Ted London. He provided the land, trust, and power of attorney. Now my kids would not have to go through the probate process.
After the death of my husband, I had to get my affairs in order. I called attorney Ted London. Now my family and home will not have to go through the probate process.
When you need your estate plan, call attorney London.
773-721-3333.
Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Did I mention Brothers Johnson's? All right, let's check some news out here. Guys, I think a big story. Hold on, let me put this in real quick, or let me see if it's coming up. In Georgia, I think the state legislature down there in Georgia just voted against redistricting their congressional districts down there. I can't confirm it right now, but the governor down there attempted to redistrict. He was kind of kissing up to Trump there. Hold on, let's put this in and let's see. But it seems like they voted it down. And so what does this mean for future redistricting? As we know, the Supreme Court decision and has had a serious impact. Let's see. Here, part of my problem is that I have a hard time doing two things at one time, right? All right. Senator Warnock speaks ahead of Georgia legislature special session. State House Senate leaders declined to redraw legislative maps for now. So that's a key word in there, guys. For now. The Georgia legislature will not redraw the state's legislative and congressional maps during the summer special legislative session, Speaker of the House John Burns announced today. Burns said in a news conference that it is not the right time to redistrict because of several pending court cases, and the expedient timeline of the special session, and that Republicans in both chambers have informed Governor Brian Kemp, who called the session, that they will not take up the issue right now. So again, this special session in the state of Georgia, right, that was called by the governor to redistrict congressional maps there, and really would have an impact on blacks and minorities in the state and their voting power. They have decided not to take it up at this time. So I think it's important that we put that in perspective. Not that they have shot it down completely, but they have decided not to take it up this time, which means there's a possibility that they can bring it up later on. Kemp's office, Governor Kemp in Georgia, they made a statement. The Supreme Court's decision in Louisiana versus Calais reaffirmed that racial gerrymandering is unconstitutional in all forms. Georgia's legislative maps were drawn intentionally to create majority minority districts, a practice which has now been deemed unconstitutional. So in Georgia, they drew up maps, right, to give majority minority districts, namely to black people. That's what he's saying. I do not believe there's reason to delay the apportionment process, especially with the legislature already convening. Legislative districting, however, is the responsibility of the General Assembly, and it is within their discretion to defer the issue until a later date. So we'll see what happens there. Again, they're not completely throwing it out the window. They are just saying that they are not taking up this issue right now, much like the Illinois House deciding that it wasn't going to take up the issue of trying to keep the Bears in Illinois. Guys, did you see Governor Pritzker? And Obadeli's going to come on, I believe, with us at 1:30. Let me make sure I don't have a guest coming on. Governor Pritzker actually said something that was interesting. I'm going to tease you guys on that right now. And hopefully we can talk about it a little later on. Somebody's on Facebook Live, somebody is saying that Money Mayweather was arrested. What is that about? Who just said that? Brother Wall says Money Mayweather been arrested. Okay, I'm looking it up right now. I'm not seeing it so far, Brother Wall. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Let me put in arrested and see if. Why would he be arrested? I'm curious. Just because he's money? No, has not been arrested, but he is facing felony charges in Vegas regarding an alleged unpaid $200,000 luxury watch. Oh, Lord. In April, Clark County prosecutors charged him with theft. How are you going to charge Floyd Mayweather with theft? All right, never mind. And drawing and passing a check without sufficient funds. Ooh. How the hell is that possible? The charges stem from a December 2024 transaction where Mayweather allegedly wrote a $200,000 check through Wells Fargo to Gold and Beyond, a Las Vegas designer resale store, knowing there were insufficient funds in his account to cover it. Mayweather was not physically present at the scheduled preliminary appearance in Las Vegas. His defense lawyers represented him. Next steps, his case is currently scheduled for further hearing in September, and he faces significant potential prison time if convicted. He's got to be careful, man. You know, America doesn't like aggressive, rich black men blowing all that cash, Lee, on a $200,000 watch. Come on, brother. You're not boxing anymore. Get back in the ring, man. You better make some, blowing all that cash. Man, instead of doing what rich people do, right? Buy life insurance policies, buy stock, and then borrow off of that and save your money, man. That's or at least save your wealth. That's what these cats do. Mark Zuckerberg is one of the richest men in the world based on stock that he owns through Facebook, not based on cash. Based on stock. So he borrows against his stock and lives the life. He can buy a $200,000 watch because he's got billions of dollars worth of stock. He doesn't actually write a check for $200,000. Lord, somebody get Floyd Mayweather before it's too late. Anyway, it's 1:30. Obadeli's going to call in. I'm going to text him. Let's talk about this budget. The governor signed. I don't know if this is a big story or not, but we'll chat it about with Brother Obadeli when we return. Don't go anywhere. Logan has news coming up right now.
Wednesday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here's what's happening in your local and national news. A flood watch is in effect for Chicago and the surrounding area. The National Weather Service says this alert is due to thunderstorms and intense winds in the forecast. Several Illinois counties will be affected, including Will, Cook, and DuPage. In Indiana, the flood watch includes Lake and Border counties. In other news, several residents who live near the Obama Presidential Center on Chicago's South Side are calling for stronger housing protections. Shannon Bennett with the Community Benefits Agreement Coalition says their biggest concern is displacement and housing costs. The CBA Coalition wants the city to provide property tax relief for longtime homeowners and enact rent control measures. Organizers also called on local aldermen and the Obama Foundation to back policies that prevent displacement and allow residents who have been pushed out to return. In other news, old phones, hard drives, and servers are getting a bigger role in the fight for earth supplies. Electric and electronics recycler Paladin Envirotech says it is expanding sites across several states. The company says the goal is to recover rare earth minerals and materials used in defense systems, energy technology, and AI infrastructure. China currently processes about 90% of the world's rare earth elements, pushing the U.S. to find more of those materials at home. And there are now 856 cases of Ebola in Congo and Uganda, and 198 confirmed deaths in the two countries. That's the latest total in an update given by the CDC this week. The CDC recommends avoiding non-essential travel to those areas and says the overall risk to Americans and travelers remains low. There are no Ebola cases in the U.S. linked to the outbreak. An American who tested positive for Ebola doing humanitarian work in Congo has fully recovered. I'm Logan Page, and that's what's happening in your news now on WVON 1690 AM.
Chicago will make history. It's the opening of the Obama Presidential Center. It's our center, our story, in our city. We're WVON.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? The soundtrack of our lives. A Ravinia Black Music Month feature showcasing music that makes us think, love, cry, feel, act, and move. Music that reflects our stories. Can you feel it? The soundtrack of our lives.
Patti LaBelle, When You've Been Blessed.
Feels like heaven. Heaven, when you've been blessed. Feels like heaven. Heaven, when you've been blessed. Feels like heaven.
Ravinia, celebrating Black Music Month. Experience the transformative power of live music. Get tickets at ravinia.org.
Never sleep in contact lenses unless your eye care professional specifically recommends it. Doing so can increase your risk of eye infections and other complications that may affect your vision. This healthy reminder is sponsored in part by Dr. Ansel T. Johnson and Vision Salon Eye Care Associates.
This Black Music Month, WVON presents the Chicago Catalog, celebrating the artists who gave Chicago its soundtrack. Brought to you by AARP.
Few names in music history carry the weight of Quincy Jones. Born and raised in Chicago, Quincy Jones became one of the most influential figures the music industry has ever known. As a producer, composer, arranger, conductor, and visionary, his career spanned more than 7 decades and touched nearly every corner of popular music. From working with legends like Ray Charles and Frank Sinatra to producing Michael Jackson's iconic album Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, Quincy Jones helped shape the sound of modern music. He also produced and conducted the historic charity single, We Are the World, bringing together dozens of the world's biggest artists to raise millions for famine relief in Africa. His influence extended beyond records to film, television, and philanthropy, earning him dozens of Grammy Awards and worldwide acclaim. But it all began in Chicago, and the world never stopped listening.
The Chicago Catalog, an exclusive Black Music Month series brought to you by AARP, a proud supporter of Black Music Month.
It's Rufus Williams.
Mayor Brandon Johnson.
I'm going to upset you right now, and I'm looking forward to a Cubs World Series.
That upsets Titus. Doesn't bother me, not at all. I'm from that space. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Mayor.
Sorry, brother.
Weekdays at 7 a.m. on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Now back to Matt McGill on The Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Forget about if you take the chance and do it, and there ain't no one who's gonna put you down. 'Cause we're the party people night and day, living crazy, that's the only way. So tonight, gotta leave the 9 to 5 upon shop and just enjoy yourself. Smooth. Love the riders and the music get to you. Life ain't so bad at all. Get it off the wall.
How about that? Some off the wall. Hold on. Let me call Obadell. Did Obadell? I don't think Obadell called in yet. Hold on.
Matt, he's here.
Oh, is he there? All right. Obadelli, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Matt? The Chicago weather is what's up, man.
Where are you?
Now outside. No, I just got in my car from a meeting, man. It is like the temperature dropped 30 degrees. I don't know.
Ain't it crazy?
So in June. Yeah, crazy weather.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you this, man. I remember as a kid that June could be either hot or it could be a little chilly. So I think this is not as unusual. Maybe this little weather front, because what are we, June 18th here, 17th here, maybe a little bit. But I'll tell you, man, I'll take this little cool breeze over that severe heat that we get sometimes that can get I haven't even put my air conditioner in yet, man, because this cool weather has been so nice. I'll take it, brother.
I'll turn. I guess I'm gonna have to turn my heat back on. I'm a guy that sleeps under a fan, so I drive my wife crazy because I turn the air conditioner on, man, all the time. I sleep with a fan, but anyway, that's another story for another day. Yeah, I'm one of those type of guys, man. I'm always hot.
Right.
This cold weather bothers me. Anyway. But it is what it is, man. But you want to talk about the budget? It was listen, it was an ugly budget, but it was a good budget in my opinion from an advocacy standpoint. And listen, maybe for some of the fat cats in the businesses, they don't like that. They're going to have $800 million in taxes that they're going to have to pay. I think a lot of people poo-pooed this social media tax that Mayor Johnson put forth, and listen, it's already outpacing itself. Don't want that the tax revenue will come in.
Obadell, explain that though, because that's part of the budget. So what we're talking about, guys, is the state budget. Governor Pritzker signed the budget yesterday. Am I correct on that, Obadell?
Yeah, he signed it yesterday. A $56 billion budget with $800 million in new taxes. But there's no taxes on people. Let me make that very clear.
Okay.
These are taxes that are, there's a software, these corporate taxes, that corporations will have to pay, and on some businesses, and I contend that they can afford it. And all this talk about them leaving, Cranes magazines and travel magazines and shit. Chicago has been for the fifth consecutive year has led the nation in corporate relocations and in tourism. So, no one's leaving because of the taxes. These folks are making money here. They can afford it. And listen, Matt, at the end of the day, we have to protect the safety net, right? So, there's $350 million that is going to go for education, to support, K through 12 education in our community, right? Higher education is getting, another $721 million. There's $1.2 billion going into, the infrastructure budget for, and so, listen, the $100 million that had to be put aside for people who are going to lose their SNAP benefits, Matt, because of what's happening, in D.C. with this current federal administration.
Sure.
I'm going to try to keep it mildly putting it, right? And so, and then for me, as an advocate, we have $127 million for youth employment all year round. I don't think people miss that. It's not just summer jobs. Last year, the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus put $150 million into all year round employment for young people. Black youth unemployment is the highest of any race, Matt, in this state.
Okay.
And so we needed to make sure that those dollars were shored up to give young people an opportunity to go to work and get some job experience and, not be out committing crime, which is probably, I will say, was one of the leading reasons why crime and violence was down. People had jobs, they were working. So, and this year, equally the same. Not as much, but, it's still a significant amount and a commitment was made there. From my standpoint, well over, $200 million into violence prevention funding, through via the Office of Gun Violence Prevention out of the Illinois Department of Human Services. So I can go on and talk about, things that our people will benefit from. Protecting the safety net hospitals, like St. Bernard, like Roseland Hospital, like Insight Hospital, and the list goes on. That is critical, to our community, Matt. Now, if there was something that I wanted to see, more money for small businesses, right, to help support small businesses, those dollars didn't make it through. So if there was something that was missing, that's from there. Listen, Matt, I will be the first one to say, I wish that our community didn't have an over-reliance on social services, but it is what it is. And therefore, we have to make sure that we can protect the social service infrastructure and the safety net infrastructure within our community. So again, it's a good budget. Is it a great budget? No, but it's a good budget, and it was a good budget for our community, Matt, in my opinion. And I think there are probably some other folks who think the same way. Now, if you're a big business and you don't like being taxed, I get it. But they can afford it. Trust me, I'd say that they can afford to pay more taxes. I do think that we need to have a billionaire tax in this state of Illinois. Short of taxing, trade, the exchange. Because they would move. They'd say they would move to New York, but I doubt if they're going to move to New York because Mundani is doing the same thing.
Exactly.
I think there should be a commuter tax. And so what about taxing Facebook and Instagram and Meta and all these people? They're making money from the advertising dollars that they should pay taxes on those dollars.
Explain that. Explain that tax, because you're talking about a $300 million from $200 million in a new revenue from a per user tax on large social media companies. What is this social media tax that we're talking about?
Well, it would derive from like the city of Chicago. I think people thought that the mayor was off. Now, nothing will stop them from suing. They threatened that they would go to court and sue. And the mayor put this tax in place, at least as a part of the budget. And already we were projecting to get $30 million from it. And already the city has gotten $17 million. According to the Department of Revenue, they've gotten $17 million in taxes from it. Listen, people spend a lot of time on social media, more than they should, as far as I'm concerned. And there are a lot of, if you're on there, Matt, through these phones, the algorithms, all these different advertisements pop up. And so, that's generating cash for the social media companies, or the social media companies, should I say, and the companies are getting, people buying their products and their merchandise
Sure.
They should be paying a tax for it, and the people should benefit from it.
Sure. I agree.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't, I don't see a problem with taxing these digital companies and crypto. Though I have some questions about, the prognostication on crypto and where that's going to go. But even when it comes down to these gaming apps as well. So listen, I think these corporations should all pay their fair share. Listen, I think these sweepstakes people should kick in. I mean, I'm not saying ban it. I mean, I know I'm maybe going off on another tangent here, Max, but Matt and VON family, but if you go into these corner stores right now, you have these video gaming machines. You have elderly people sitting at them. They go into the stores. They don't come out for hours and spending money. They should be paying their fair share of taxes off of the money that they're making. They should not be getting away with having these gaming systems in there and not paying their fair share.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying ban them. Let me make that very clear. What I'm saying is that if they're legal, well, they've been deemed to be legal until the city council just passed an ordinance to ban them. They should have at least gotten some money out of it before they get it. These people are getting away with highway robbery, Matt. I think some of these stores, man, these people are making $30,000, $40,000 a month. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it, man. I mean, look, you talked about, number one, this budget is trying to address, right, some of the challenges that the federal government, this administration is putting on working class people, right? One thing about Trump is very clear on the fact that he is not only pro-business, right, but he is pro-business bottom line, and the cuts that he's made across the board impact the average everyday working class family in the United States of America. So here we are in Illinois, and to the credit of our state legislator and to the governor, trying to fill in those gaps. And you're reaching for everything that's out there to try to fill in those gaps. So I get it. You talked about the cryptocurrency tax. Are you saying you're a little skeptical about the projections on it?
I'm a little skeptical about the projection where crypto is going. I just, without the regulations, man, I am just concerned that, that crypto is, I still see it as snake oil. I mean, from my perspective, obviously there are people trading it, it's trading, and it has its highs and lows, but I have some concern and just about the security in it. But it's been, listen, they're projecting it based upon, what they've seen move, right? They're following, the market and seeing how it is being traded here in Illinois. And there are people who are believers in it. I just think that the bottom is going to fall out and sooner than later, in my opinion. But that's one other thing I think is important.
Well, hold that. Let me take a break. And you tell me that. You got one other thing, and I do want to ask you about the Bears as well. Bomani Obedelli is our guest, of course, man, when it comes to details and state budget. And as he put it, though, he sees this budget being good for WVON listeners, working class people. And he explained it. And that's important, right? I mean, it's really they did make a big deal about it. Governor signed the budget yesterday. At the end of the day, this is what we want our state legislators doing. We want them down there working on the nooks and crannies that you and I might not understand or see, but at the end of the day, is money coming back? And as he said, like, we are more reliant on these social programs than we should be. And so we maybe have to figure that out, but at least some funding is coming through that can help support our community. All right, let's take a break here. We'll be right back with Obedelli right after this.
More from Matt McGill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Hey, baby. I'm your Magnolia Blues man, Sir Henry Cheatham, inviting you to join us on WVON 1690 for some real American music and culture. Here on Classic Blues and R&B. Check us out Saturday, 11 p.m. until 2 a.m. on WVON and Classic Blues and R&B.
Dreaming of owning a home?
Fifth Third Bank is here to help get you there. Our down payment assistance programs open doors for families in Chicago. Whether you're buying your first home or planning for the future, we'll guide you every step of the way. Because of Fifth Third, we believe homeownership builds stronger communities. This is banking a Fifth Third better. Visit 53.com to learn more. That's 53.com. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, can make me feel like a spectator in my own life.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It's the #1 prescribed branded chronic migraine preventive treatment.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor, visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com, or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray.
Congressman Jonathan Jackson on the line.
I saw a meme that said America will come and get you. When it's about the oil, they bombed in Iran, they've got oil. They bombed in Iraq, they've got oil. They bombed in Libya, they've got oil. And now they bombed in Venezuela, they've got oil. And they even came after Diddy because he had oil.
Come on, Congressman. What a great setup. That was good. That was good.
It's the afternoon show with Atiba Buchanan and LaDonna Ray. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Protect your money and build your wealth. Sundays at 3 p.m., host and owners of Top & Top Insurance Agency, Clydell and Betty Top, teach you about protecting your assets, 401ks, annuities, life after retirement, the differences and benefits of life insurance. And they take questions. Their advice can enhance your financial future and your legacy. Call for a free WVON financial consultation, 773-881-8110. Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. to protect your money and build your wealth. Powered by Top & Top Insurance Agency. Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, we're back at 591-1690. Bomani Obedelli, the governor, signed the budget. How much was this budget again? Did you say $56 billion, brother? Did I hear you say?
Yes, $56 billion budget, man. It's a $55.9 billion. I rounded it up. So it was $56 billion. That's the exact number, $55.9 billion budget. And the one thing that I wanted to mention, Matt, is the suspension of the gas tax, right? You know, given where the country is with the cost of gas, it's a 6-month suspension on the gas tax, which I think that, would benefit folks who happen to drive. You know, the only concern I have now is how does that play out with this new transit authority system that's created? As you know,
sure.
Mayor of the city of Chicago have lost total control of CTA now. And so there's this super agency that has the RTA, the CTA, and Metro all together. One of the new regional board has been created. And, the mayor gets X amount of appointments, the governor gets X amount of appointments, and the county board president. So a lot of what's going to go on there at that new agency is also funded through, the gas tax, the motor fuel tax. So I guess I'm concerned a little bit about how that's going to play out, given that July 1st, that new authority takes over.
And I think I saw somewhere where some tax that normally goes to transit was shifted to the state's general fund or something like that. I might be off in that. So the whole transit question, I think, is a legitimate one because, we talk about, suspending the gas tax, but that money is needed, man. That tax that comes off of the gas tax is part of this budget and what's making things work. Right?
And so somewhere it has to be made up, right? And so I think, and therein lies where you see again the business community are absolutely upset. My friend Jim from Elgin and all the right wing people, they don't want to pay any more taxes for anything.
Anything.
They don't. Listen, we have one, and let me just say this. Let me be clear. And they didn't do this, but we have one of the lowest income taxes in the nation, Matt. I don't people really realize that.
That's
that
right.
Illinois, we pay one of the lowest income taxes on income. So
Right.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, but again, in this climate, you can't talk about taxing people anymore. And I get that, right? So you go after these corporations who can afford it, and these fat cat millionaires and multimillionaires and billionaires. Matt, and I think that's any family that's making over $500,000 a year. I think they can also afford it. It should be shared pain, in my opinion. But let's see what happens with these social media folks, right? They're threatening a major lawsuit saying it's unconstitutional. So let's see if they take it to court and it holds up.
Well, speaking of that, Attorney General Kwame Raoul is not completely happy. His budget was cut a little bit. He was looking to keep it where it was, but he's down $10 million. And he's fighting the fight on the front line for the citizens of the state of Illinois against this Trump administration as well.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think there was some shared sacrifice in the budget, but I think for those of us who are advocates in the community, man, I listen. It even in that space, we didn't get all that we wanted out of the state government, to help shore up all of these safety net programs. But we got enough that we think we could stabilize it. It's not, the scorched earth, as catastrophic as we thought it would be. I'll be frank with you, Matt. We didn't expect that the safety net hospitals would survive out of this. And, shout out to the members again. I'm going to give them credit. They don't get enough. The members of the Legislative Black Caucus for fighting for those dollars. For those dollars for all year-round youth employment, the educational dollars to help support pre-K through 12th grade education. Those things are critical to our community, Matt. So I get it. And as far as the Bears, I told you this before, though I'm not a fan, the Bears are not going anywhere, Matt. I don't believe the Bears are going to Indiana. I think that they want to back the legislators into a corner so that they can get, they want a Wrigley Field type of, the Ricketts type of deal.
Sure.
They want to control the stadium, where they can control the sports book. But you see what just happened with the sports book at Wrigley Field, and then now the bowling. And I'm a diehard Cub fan, but the Lucky Strike is closing. So I have some concerns. It's like with crypto. I have some concerns, but the only way you can get a sports book is that you have to be an owner. The Bears want a sports book that they can control. So they want to build the hotels and the restaurants. They want to create an atmosphere where their stock is going to go up, their shareholders are going to make money, and they're going to build generational wealth for the McCaskey generations of grandchildren, right? And they want the taxpayers of Illinois to pay for it. This is a big market. Indiana cannot hold two teams, even if it's 45 minutes away. I just don't see it happening. I think there's going to be a deal worked out where the Bears are either going to stay in Chicago, and I still think that that's an option.
Well, let me tell you that, Obadelli. To that point, brother, the governor said yesterday, he said, we're going to protect the taxpayers. That's principle number one. And I'm quoting the governor here. Protect the taxpayers of the state of Illinois. We want the Bears to stay. I love the Chicago Bears. I want them to stay either in the city or in the state of Illinois. I thought to hear that come out of the governor's mouth makes it obvious to me that the city is still in play.
Well, I contend that the city was never out of play. I think that there was some misinformation that the governor got bad information, and obviously he didn't know that the three African-American men were talking to each other.
Okay.
And I'm talking about, Foles and the president of the Bears organization and this mayor. Right. And so I think there's been some conversations, and I'll throw in, the fourth ward alderman, Lamont Robinson, in that. Listen, I know how hard he's been working. He wants the Bears Stadium to be built in the fourth ward along the lakefront. Right. I think the mayor would ideally want it to be built somewhere around there as well, and a community built around it. I just think it's got to work out and it's got to make sense. Now, we may have some issues with Friends of the Parks, and that may throw a monkey wrench in things. And so then Arlington Heights may be another solution at the end of the day. But I don't believe the Bears are going to Indiana. I think that this move with the board, they did that to cause this level of hysteria so that people can start talking, calling your legislators and putting pressure on the elected officials to come up with a deal that made sense for the Bears to be able to stay here. A business deal where, again, they're willing to put up some money, but they want us to pay for their new stadium. So they can, and again, you know, I'm telling you, the McCaskies, and they can sell it. Anyway, I got my own thoughts about them, but I know what they want to do. They want to build up that stadium, build up the franchise, and they're going to sell it.
Yeah,
they're going to sell it.
I'm
they're
with you
going
on
to sell the Bears to the highest bidders.
Yeah. All right. Good work, brother. Obadeli, as always, man, full of information. I love you for it, my brother. I look forward to talking to you. We got to catch up in person for sure. So much to talk about. Bomani Obadeli doing his work, and as always, thinking about WVON listeners as he looked at this budget. And he knows he's got an eye on you guys, on the WVON listeners. He loves this radio station. He loves this community. And we need him to explain this budget in the way he just did so that we're not just taking it for granted or we're not being unduly critical of our state legislators down there. We understand that the black state legislators are doing some work and they're bringing some bacon back to the community. That's important information for us. All right, let's take a break here. When we return, our Chase Community Banking Hour on WVON.
Happy Wednesday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here are your news headlines. Chicago alderman pushes parent fines for teen takeovers. Chicago co-founder Walter Perez Zider, dead at 81. Severe weather moves through Chicago. Cubs closer Daniel Palencia is placed on 15-day injured list. And Fed leaves interest rates unchanged. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Here's BIN News now. The city of Chicago was celebrating Juneteenth. Tuesday, Mayor Brandon Johnson and other city leaders gathered for the annual Juneteenth flag raising ceremony.
It was a celebration of liberation, a celebration of resilience, and a celebration of people who never stopped believing in a just and a better tomorrow.
The federal holiday commemorates the ending of slavery in the United States. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says the Buckeye State should abolish the death penalty. DeWine said he no longer believes capital punishment deters murder, citing waits of more than 20 years between sentencing and execution. DeWine says state lawmakers would have to take action to end the death penalty. And Mystical is being sentenced to 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to raping a woman in his home in Louisiana in 2022. The victim was in court Tuesday and asked for the maximum sentence. I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News. Now, back to you, Terry.
President Trump speaking out on efforts to end the war with Iran.
We have our deal done with Iran, and it should be successful. It goes to a second stage, which I think will be actually easier.
Following a meeting with the Emir of Qatar on the sidelines of the G7 summit in France yesterday, Trump told reporters that the U.S. would not be investing in Iran, despite what he called a rumor making the rounds. Back at home, the Senate just barely rejecting a war powers resolution on Iran. Black Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia led the action.
After 109 days of a failed war, and now a fragile, temporary, but welcome truce, will my Republican colleagues choose today to finally stand up to this president? Will my colleagues say enough is enough to the president who ran as a candidate promising no new wars?
Senators rejected a motion to discharge the resolution out of committee in a 47-48 vote. And lawmakers are pushing for more information about terms in the deal, which would direct the president to remove the United States Armed Forces from hostilities within or against Iran unless authorized by a declaration of war. Congress passing the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act in 2015, it stipulates that any deal relating to Iran's nuclear program must be submitted to Congress prior to sanctions being lifted. California Governor Gavin Newsom is facing over $31,000 in fines for failure to report millions of dollars in charitable donations made on his behalf in time. He was fined by the Fair Political Practices Commission a week before he announced a federal investigation targeting he and his wife. The $5.6 million in donations, known as behested payments, came from 35 donors, including Apple. Most of the money went to the California Fire Foundation during the Los Angeles wildfires last year. Over a third of Americans are projecting a grim view of the nation's future. According to a newly released Reuters Ipsos poll, 38% of respondents said the U.S. is not going to exist 250 years from now, while 62% thought it would. Taking a look along party lines, 40% of Democrats said the U.S. will not endure for another 250 years, and 26% of Republicans agreed. Polling also found 64% of respondents said American democracy was in danger of failing, which is up from about 60% in August. I'm Terry McCready for the Black Information Network.
Catch Reverend Al Sharpton online at WVON.com or on the WVON app. Just click the Al Sharpton banner. Tune in every day at 12 noon for your daily dose. And if you miss it, catch the overnight replay from midnight to 3 a.m. We're keeping it real with Al Sharpton on WVON 1690.
Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real.
It's D.L. Hughley.
When you see things like what happened in Virginia, where they had a special election and expanded seats for the Democrats, Republicans have been putting their fingers on the scale of the elections forever. They've always done it. They've always gerrymandered. But now they have gerrymandered everything to the nth degree that they don't have any more room to gerrymander. And now these Democrats have picked up 10 to 12 seats. Even after this is all over, we got to get back to people who are involved in the pedophile ring. We got to get back to ICE brutalizing people. So the war is a distraction, but from some pretty horrible that we got to get back to.
Weekdays at 5 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
This is your host and life coach, Linnell Harris, and I want you to join me every Sunday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. for Inspirational Perspective. On Inspirational Perspective, we talk life vision, life purpose, and the show is all about helping you live the best life possible. So join me as we look at supporting you in living the life you intend to live and making your life's vision a reality. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 a.m. WVON.
We are the dream that refused to die, born from hands that picked cotton, but carried kingdoms in their memory, born from backs bent by labor, but never broken in spirit, born from songs whispered in darkness, where hope traveled farther than change could reach. We remember them, the mothers who prayed over impossible tomorrows, the fathers who carried dignity where none was offered, the elders who taught us that freedom is not simply something granted, it is something claimed, protected, and passed on. We remember June 19th, 1865, not as the beginning of freedom, but as a declaration that truth eventually arrives, that justice, though delayed, can never permanently outrun destiny, that a people who survived the unimaginable could never be defined by what was done to them. We are descendants of endurance, of builders and believers, of inventors and educators, of entrepreneurs and artists, of farmers, soldiers, preachers, organizers, and dreamers. Every step we take echoes the footsteps of those who walked before us. And look at us now, creating, leading, teaching, serving, innovating, raising families, building businesses, changing communities. We are writing new chapters with the ink of old courage. So today we celebrate the ancestors who carried us. And with gratitude in our hearts and vision in our eyes, we move forward together, honoring our ancestors, protecting our history, waving our red, black, and green flags in solidarity as we embrace our now. so we can boldly build our next. Happy Juneteenth from WVON.
In June, we are united in pride. We are WVON.
Live from the Xfinity Studios, it's the station that America listens to, WVON, Berlin, Chicago. It's Matt McGill on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
Should you rent or buy? That's $1 million question, right? Welcome to our Chase Community Banking Hour, and that's what we're going to be talking about right now with our friend Brandon Mills, Community Manager at Chase. Becoming a homeowner is a significant milestone and a dream for many, but it's a decision that requires careful consideration and preparation. More Americans are renting now than any other time in the past 50 years. With these changing statistics, many people are asking, do I want to buy a home? If so, how do I make it happen? Brandon Mills, Community Manager at Chase, is here today to provide some tips for anyone trying to decide whether they should continue renting or take the first steps to becoming a homeowner. So let's start with the basics, Brandon. What do you think are the pros and cons of renting versus buying? Are there any unexpected benefits from choosing to buy a home?
Great question. Very important question as well. Deciding whether to rent or buy a home comes down to weighing the ups and downs of each option. Buying a home lets you build up equity as you pay off your mortgage, which can be handy for things like home improvements, paying off debt, or helping out with college. Plus, owning means you can really make the place your own with renovations or expansions as well. There might be some tax perks like deductions or mortgage interest or property taxes. On the flip side, buying a home is a big financial commitment up front and comes with ongoing costs like repairs and possible property tax hikes as well. It also ties you down, making it tougher to move quickly if life throws a curveball at you, like a new job in a different city. Renting, on the other hand, usually means less money up front and no worries about maintenance, giving you the freedom to move more easily if your situation changes. However, renting has its downsides as well. You won't build equity and there are no tax breaks. Plus, you might have to move if the rent goes up or the property gets sold. In the end, whether you rent or buy depends on your financial situation, your lifestyle, or your future plans.
Yeah, this is such an important topic because we know that home ownership is key to building generational wealth. We talk about that all the time. What is the first thing we need to consider when deciding whether or not to become a homeowner?
There are a ton of factors to consider when buying a home, but the most important thing is your lifestyle. Keep in mind, buying a house isn't for everyone. Some questions you may ask yourself include, what's my current lifestyle? What do I like and dislike about my current living situation? Am I ready for a long-term investment? And where do I settle down? Your lifestyle plays a major part in your readiness to buy a home. These questions are by no means a comprehensive list of things to consider when buying a home. However, if your answers indicate that you need more flexibility and that you need more time to make a decision, it may be best to continue renting in a location you find desirable. That way, you can determine the neighborhood, costs, and lifestyle advantages of the area you're considering buying.
All right, if you're just joining us, Brandon Mills from Chase is helping us decide whether or not we're financially ready to buy a home. Beyond lifestyle considerations, what questions should we be asking ourselves when considering our finances, Brandon?
Well, when you think about buying a home, it's important to get a good handle on your finances first. Start by checking your credit score, since it affects the kind of mortgage you can get. Think about how stable your job is and how a regularly monthly mortgage payment will fit into your current budget. Look at how much debt you already have and whether you're okay with adding more to the mix. Figure out what you can realistically afford to pay each month and whether you'll still be able to save some money by covering the mortgage. Also, compare what you're paying in rent now to what a mortgage might cost you to see how it stacks up. Asking yourself these questions can help you figure out if you're ready to take the plunge into homeownership.
Take the plunge. You mentioned how important credit scores are in the home buying process. What should our listeners know about credit before making the move from renting to owning a home?
Let's first acknowledge what a credit score is. A credit score is a 3-digit number that shows how trustworthy you are with credit. It's based on stuff on your credit report, like how well you pay your bills, how much debt you have, how long you've had credit. Having a good credit score is super important if you're thinking about buying a home. People with high credit scores usually get better deals on their home loans, which can save a ton of money over time. If your credit score is excellent, you're in a great spot to buy a house. But if your score is on the lower side, you'll want to take a closer look and maybe work on boosting it before diving into home ownership. Check for things that might be dragging your score down. Look like too many credit checks, a short credit history, late payments, that's a big one, or using too much of your available credit.
Guys, this is the information that we need to build generational wealth. Yes, Chase is an international banking and financial service company, but at the same time, they're a neighborhood bank. They're our community bank, and that's why we're doing this segment, to help you navigate through some of these tough decisions like Brandon has been explaining to us. Very simple. All of this is right in your neighborhood. Brandon, before we go, is there anything else you want to share?
Absolutely. If you decide to wait before your home purchase, use that time wisely. You can start by building a team of people to help you with your decision. That team includes real estate agents, mortgage experts, attorneys, and independent home inspectors can provide you with critical information regarding nationwide and local trends that are impacting property values, various funding options, and the true state of the property's condition and worth. When it comes to timing, relax. If this isn't the right time to buy, don't jump into something that you're not prepared for. Instead, use your time to shore up your financial position and gather the professionals you need to make the best decisions for you and your family. For more information, please visit chase.com/personal/mortgage for more information.
Brandon Mills, you're amazing, brother. I appreciate you coming on. Chase Community Manager right there. Don't be surprised if you see me walking into your store there.
My pleasure. Come on in.
I need all of this help, all of this debt management and credit score help. I need it all, and I'm glad to know that you guys are just right here, part of the WVON family. Go to the website, check out all the Chase products, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Chase Community Banking Hour.
More from Matt McGill coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Medication management is essential for healthy aging. Take medications as directed and ask questions if something doesn't feel right. And that's your healthy reminder.
This healthy reminder is sponsored in part by OSF Complete Care 55+.
Smart conversations with smart people makes us smarter. And that's exactly what you get on Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams. This isn't surface level talk. This is where authors become experts, where books become blueprints, and where ideas are challenged, not just discussed. From Colin Woodard on Nations Apart, to Gloria J. Brown Marshall breaking down the history of protests in America, to Gary Tyler sharing a story of resilience and redemption and stitching free. These are not interviews. These are conversations that matter, because every book has a story and every story has a deeper meaning. Bound and Woven with Rufus Williams on Bond TV. You can catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV+, the WVON app, and VON.TV.
This Black Music Month, WVON presents the Chicago Catalog, celebrating the artists who gave Chicago its soundtrack. Brought to you by AARP.
Few names in music history carry the weight of Quincy Jones. Born and raised in Chicago, Quincy Jones became one of the most influential figures the music industry has ever known. As a producer, composer, arranger, conductor, and visionary, his career spanned more than 7 decades and touched nearly every corner of popular music. From working with legends like Ray Charles and Frank Sinatra to producing Michael Jackson's iconic album Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, Quincy Jones helped shape the sound of modern music. He also produced and conducted the historic charity single, We Are the World, bringing together dozens of the world's biggest artists to raise millions for famine relief in Africa. His influence extended beyond records to film, television, and philanthropy, earning him dozens of Grammy Awards and worldwide acclaim. But it all began in Chicago, and the world never stopped listening.
The Chicago Catalog, an exclusive Black Music Month series brought to you by AARP, a proud supporter of Black Music Month.
Hey Alexa, play WVON 1690 AM.
Getting WVON 1690 AM station from iHeartRadio.
Try it out for yourself. America is listening to WVON.
I was having a medical procedure, and I wanted to ensure my kids would get my home should something happen to me. I called attorney Ted London. He provided the land, trust, and power of attorney. Now my kids will not have to go through the probate process.
After the death of my husband, I had to get my affairs in order. I called attorney Ted London. Now my family and home will not have to go through the probate process.
773-721-3333.
Now back to Matt McGill on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
All right, we're back. Thanks to our friends at Chase, JP Morgan Chase, and our community banking hour. Mike Fideli coming up here at 2:35. Everybody, talk about taxes, accounting, and everything else that's going around in the world, including we've got the opening of the Obama Center tomorrow, Juneteenth coming up. Senator Tammy Duckworth is going to be joining us here shortly when she comes on. I'll bring her on the air. She's running off to Florida in the Capitol, in the Senate. Talk to us a little bit about Juneteenth and, of course, the opening of the Obama Center and this memorandum of understanding on our military engagement with Iran. I don't know if it's proper to call it a war, to be honest with you. As much as the administration wants to call it a war, I don't know that it actually is a war. All right. 591-1690 is the number to call. Of course, a lot going on. There's everything, man. Obama Center people, they could not have asked for a worse situation, right? Just think about it. The day before you are opening up the Presidential Center, one of the biggest moments in the history of the city of Chicago. No city has seen anything like this, right? Urban, south side of Chicago, Presidential Center opening up, and then you get weather like this, like we got today. It's raining. The wind has died down a little bit. All during the show, man, it was just strong winds, and there was like a little warning out there because of the strong winds. You can imagine what's going on over there. They're trying to put together staging and all kind of logistical stuff that they're doing over there. And then here you get this weather today. Everything has to be done by tomorrow morning. So needless to say, the people over there are going to be working around the clock all night, and then get a couple hours of sleep and wake up tomorrow morning and get right back out there, because you've got a number of dignitaries that are going to be in town tomorrow. I would expect you're going to see them around town tonight. There's some of them if you're in the downtown area, and all of them will be in tomorrow morning, of course, over in Woodlawn on 60th. Can you believe this, guys? The attention of the world will be right in Woodlawn tomorrow. All right, Senator Tammy Duckworth will go from being a junior senator to the senior senator from Illinois in January. She joins us right now. Welcome back to the show, Senator. Happy Juneteenth week, as we say here on WVON.
Yes, happy Juneteenth. Looking forward to celebrating this weekend. Thanks for having me on.
Are you going to be in Chicago tomorrow for the ceremonies?
I'm trying to make it there. We have votes here in the Senate, and both Senator Durbin and I are trying to get them to either call off the votes or figure out how we can make it there. But the goal is to be there.
You know, I keep saying to myself, President Trump is going to try to do something to upstage tomorrow or Friday, right? I mean, he has President Obama is just a thing for him. And I'm just saying he's going to, I almost thought this announcement about the memorandum of understanding that he said Friday for a reason, because he knew the Obama Center was going to open up to the public on Friday. It wouldn't surprise me if our president tries to upstage the ceremonies tomorrow. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. What are your thoughts before we get into Juneteenth and everything? What are your thoughts on the memorandum of understanding that we are talking about?
For Iran, this is, I don't understand. I mean, we're back to where we were before he started bombing Iran, and we've spent over $40 billion, and there's a new, younger, more vicious Ayatollah in place. And now Iran, he's conceded that Iran essentially has the ability to charge vessels $1 million a vessel to go through the straits, and he's going to release money to them. So it sounds to me like the big loser here is Donald Trump and, the American people.
Yeah, sounds like Iran is saying thank you to the United States and Israel for focusing on them so much and making this. Here's the bottom line. Is this going to get conveyed to the voters in November, do you think?
I'm going to do everything I can. I will tell you the voters are furious with Trump. His supporters in particular are furious with him. He promised no new wars, and he starts one. And frankly, instead of bringing gas prices down at home, he's causing them to skyrocket. And by the way, we're going to have an affordability crisis for a long time to come, because our farmers are going to feel the effects of the inflation as a result of this war well into when we harvest the crops that they planted during the war. So come this fall, you're going to see that your grocery store prices are going to be even higher than they are now.
Yeah, I just hope that when November rolls around, I'm sure they're going to do, the Republicans and the president are going to do whatever they can do to try to, take the headlines away from this economy and this terrible deal and what wasn't a war, illegal war with Iran, this military engagement to try to sway voters. And we're just so politically divided right now. I would not be surprised if it doesn't work. I know you've got to go, but this week, Juneteenth celebrations going on all around the state, and that's something that you're looking forward to as well.
It is, and I got to tell you, it's even more important now than ever before. Remember that this administration is trying to wipe out the histories and the stories of the people of this nation that don't happen to be, white and European descent. The fact that they attempted to delete from their history lessons at the service academies the stories of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Sure.
The fact that they continue to, we have a Secretary of Defense who personally intervened to block the promotion of 2 Black female generals.
Mm-hmm.
It was so egregious that the Chief of Staff of the Army quit. He left. Over this. And so it is even more important to celebrate the spirit of Juneteenth, because Juneteenth is about everyday people celebrating, not just months but years later after emancipation, the stories. And so this is where the power rests with the people, and we have to be out there celebrating and making our voices heard loud. It's not just about governments and flags and all that. It's about telling the stories to your children and your grandchildren of the contribution of the Black community in this country, and how we couldn't be who we are today without the Black community that literally built parts of this country, but then also fought for this nation's liberty and freedom at a time when people's own liberties and freedoms were being suppressed during the Jim Crow era.
Yeah, I know it's got to be, as a veteran, it's frustrating to you. Chappie James, who was a war hero, Tuskegee Airman. Milton Olive III, right here from Chicago, another war hero, Purple Heart recipient, and their contributions just being sidetracked and downplayed is just a direct insult to not just our community, but just to American veterans. Period. And I just, this administration to do this is just an embarrassment. I know you as a veteran take it personally as well, Senator. I know you got to go, so we'll catch up some other time. And thank you. Please stay on top of it. That's all I can say to you.
I will. I will. Thank you.
All right, Senator Tammy Duckworth. Like I said, soon to be our senior senator come January. As we are expecting Juliana Stratton to take that position as junior senator coming up here. All right, when we return, Mike Fideli, Fideli and Associates, our weekly segment on the Matt McGill Show.
Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here's happening in your local and national news. Chicago Alderman Ray Lopez is proposing a revised ordinance aimed at holding parents accountable for crimes committed during teen takeovers. The measure would fine parents $1,000 for a first offense involving their children. Mayor Brandon Johnson opposes the approach, saying he prefers investing in youth opportunities over criminalization. Johnson also noted that similar strategies have not improved public safety and previously vetoed a teen gathering curfew proposal last year.
You're the meaning in my life. You're the inspiration. You bring feeling to my life. You're the inspiration.
In other news, Walter Parazater, the co-founding member of Chicago, has died at the age of 81. His family made the announcement Wednesday, citing his battle with Alzheimer's disease for the last 6 years. Parazater played reed instruments in the band from its start in 1967 through his retirement in 2017. His retirement came not long after the group celebrated its induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2016. In other news, severe weather continues to make its way into Chicago. WVON's intern Kayla Patton has more.
More threatening weather is headed our way. Grab your umbrellas or plan to stay inside because Chicago is gearing up for heavy winds and lots more rain tonight. The National Weather Service says it's tracking tornadoes expected to touch down in outlying areas, potentially bringing down power lines and trees. Today, ComEd announced that all power has been restored from last week's storms, but today they're on standby for what's to come later tonight. According to the National Weather Service, we are currently under a level 3 flooding risk and winds of up to 80 miles per hour. Kayla Patton, Our News Now, 1690 WVON.
In other news, the Cubs continue to have problems keeping starting pitchers healthy. The team placed right-handed closer Daniel Palencia on the 15-day injured list with elbow inflammation. He suffered the injury and the 9th injury in Monday's walk-off win over Colorado. Manager Craig Counsell said there is no timeline on how long they will be without Palencia. Meanwhile, the Cubs have 3 starters on the injured list, which includes Kate Horton, Matthew Boyd, Justin Steele, and Jamison Talon. And the Federal Reserve is leaving interest rates unchanged. It's the 4th straight time the Fed has kept rates steady. The decision marks the first with new Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh at the helm after he replaced Jerome Powell. It comes as the U.S. and Iran are set to sign a memorandum of understanding aimed towards ending the conflict between the two nations. I'm Logan Page, and that's what's happening in your news now on WVON 1690 AM.
Honey, did you invite the minions over?
Hello. Well, you know how we talked about getting Wi-Fi from Xfinity?
Yeah.
I ordered it this morning, was online in minutes, then they showed up.
So they just came over to use the Wi-Fi?
They even brought their own devices and spell book.
You didn't give them the new Wi-Fi password, right?
No.
That's good.
I gave them our old one. Because Xfinity lets us keep the same network name and password so devices connect instantly.
What do they want Wi-Fi for anyways?
Better not to know. Plausible deniability.
Get streaming or scheming instantly with same-day Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Plus, lock in one price for the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi for 5 years. Guaranteed. and see Minions and Monsters only in theaters. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
Father's Day is Sunday, June 21st, and WVON invites you to honor the fathers and father figures who have made a lasting impact on your life. Whether it's your father, grandfather, uncle, mentor, coach, or another special man who helped guide your journey, we want to hear your tribute. Call 773-336-3456 and leave a heartfelt message, or download the WVON app and use the open mic feature to record your greeting. Your message may be featured on the air, so be sure to tell your family and friends to tune in, because every great story has someone who helped write it. This Father's Day, help us celebrate the men who made a difference. Call 773-336-3456 or download the WVON app and use the open mic feature to leave a message. Happy Father's Day from the Talk of Chicago, WVON.
Chicago, are you ready to ride through art, culture, and pure Bronzeville magic? The Bronzeville Art District Trolley Tour is back every third Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. Hop aboard our double-decker trolley buses for a night of art, community, and unforgettable vibes. For powerful exhibits at Blanc Gallery, to creative expressions at the Bronzeville Art Lofts, to cultural treasures at Fay African Art and the soul-stirring brilliance of Gallery Gashard. Each stop is a whole experience. This is not just a tour, it's a moving celebration of Bronzeville's heartbeat. Meet the artist, feel the rhythm, bring your friends, bring your energy. June 19th, July 17th, August 21st, and September 18th, every third Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. And it's free to ride the Bronzeville Art District Trolley Tour. 20 years strong and still rolling. Tap in for the culture. Tap in for the ride. RSVP now at Eventbrite and search the Bronzeville Art District Trolley Tour 2026. See you there.
Community wellness doesn't happen alone. It takes all of us working together to help families live healthier, stronger lives. This Saturday on the Community Health Focus Hour, join host Twyla Jenkins for a discussion on community wellness and community partnerships, highlighting how local organizations, community leaders, and health experts are teaming up to bring resources, education, and support where it's needed most. Listen live on WVON and Facebook. The Community Health Focus Hour, Saturdays at 1 p.m., powered by the Urban Health Initiative of UChicago Medicine, at the forefront.
See something? Say something. Don't scroll. Call 911. OEMC's got your back. Help keep Chicago safe. Again, if you see something, say something. Don't just scroll. Call 911. OEMC's got your back. Help keep Chicago safe.
It's Gospel with Pam Morris Walton, your gospel sister, on WVON Sundays, 11 to 2 p.m. Music to help you on your journey. I'll see you there. WVON.
Tuned in to your favorite WVON personalities on Facebook Live? Don't just watch, like it, love it, share it. Every click helps us grow the conversation and keep the community strong. So remember, like it, love it, share it, Chicago.
I've tried everything to stand out at work. Donuts, a company coffee blend, even dressed as the company mascot for Halloween.
There's an easier way, a ComEd facility assessment. Their engineer gave my company free insights and actions that saved us $732,000 on energy. Easy, right?
Learn how ComEd can help you save at ComEd.com/facility assessment. ComEd, powering lives. Savings will vary based on customers' usage and rate.
South Chicago isn't just a neighborhood, it's a community full of promise. That's why Fifth Third Bank is investing in its future through our neighborhood program. We're working alongside local leaders, small businesses, and residents to create jobs, expand home ownership, and build inclusive infrastructure. Because when South Chicago thrives, we all thrive. This is Banking a Fifth Third Better. Learn more about our community investments at 53.com. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
The following is paid programming. The views are not necessarily those of this station. It's time for the 2:30 Focus with Mike Fideli, powered by Fideli and Associates.
stress over. Oh, no more crying and focus. A bipolar, finally over. Oh, for you I pray. Sure you wanna share your last name with me. Baby, I'm sure I do. With you, love doesn't hurt. Love is for better or worse, so I do. Don't know what you see, but you take me and all I carry. So
All right, guys, it's time for our 2:30 Focus on the Matt McGill Show with our friend Mike Fideli and Associates. Mike is top accountant in Chicagoland area, here to talk about your business plans, taxes, and any other questions that you may have for an accountant. Of course, we encourage you to call the office at 708-991-2440. Again, that's 708-991-2440. Make an appointment and talk. Find out the services, the scope of the work that Fideli and Associates do, and find out how that fits into your life and what you're trying to do. Start a new business, or if it's something as simple as just doing your taxes, that is something that you can do, my brothers and sisters. But you got to make the phone call, make an appointment, and get it done. I always talk about putting your team, building your team. You have a lawyer, I'm sure. If you don't, you need to have somebody. That's an attorney that you can call when that moment arises and you don't want to be caught flat-footed, right? If you got an attorney, then you got a doctor. I hope you got a personal physician that you go to, your primary care physician, as we say. You got a doctor, you got a lawyer, you need an accountant, right? You got to have a team. Everybody, you got friends, you got parents, you got children. All of this is part of your team, and Mike Fideli is a good teammate for you to have. 708-991-2440. Or if you have a question now, you can call in at 773-591-1690. Mike Fideli, happy Wednesday to you, brother.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Hey, man. Living a dream, I think. I don't know.
Living a dream? You living a dream?
Trying to. What are you up
awesome.
to this week, man, in your life? What's going on?
Doing tax returns, reviewing tax returns, meeting clients. Man, I'm wall to wall. Wall to wall here. Oh, yeah, it's good, though. It's all good. Trying to relax after that golf outing. Pretty
so
interesting.
when you get a phone call these days, your phone rings. Here it is. Here we are, June 16th here. What is this? 17th here. Your phone rings. Somebody's calling your office. What are they calling about? What are they asking for?
Can you do an amended return for my 2025? Because my accountant messed it up. Seriously, we get a lot of those. Like, people had their taxes done somewhere, they're not happy with the result, and they call us up wondering if we could amend 25 or 24. And so, depending on what was done, we can potentially amend it. But some of them, they're very difficult to amend. First of all, I'm glad you brought that up. When you amend a return, it's good for the listeners of WVON to know this. It's not like an original return. And the reason is because you need to provide supporting documentation on the return. When you do an original return, you don't need to provide supporting documentation typically, unless it's crypto transactions. Then you need to provide a 1099, what's called digital assets, or you need to fill out an 8949, a form 8949. But typically, you don't need to provide documentation. But with an amended return, you do. And so if you don't have that documentation, either together we have to create it, like let's say a financial statement, or you have to take your chances and file it without the documentation. And so, like, for example, let's say somebody wants to get out of a early withdrawal penalty for an IRA distribution. They took an early distribution under age 59 and a half before they terminated service. If you terminate service, by the way, over the age 55, the 59.5-year rule doesn't apply to, meaning if you quit permanently, you retired permanently after the age of 55, you can take your 401k early or your IRA distribution and not be subject to the 10% penalty. However, if you're a typical person and you take it before age 59.5, you get a 10% penalty on that. Well, to get out of that penalty, there's various things you can do. You can provide, you can use it for medical purposes. You could use it for educational purposes for you or your children. You can use it for hardship withdrawals. But in that case, you still have to provide the documentation. So a lot of times I have to tell the client, look, we'll be happy to file it, but I'm almost certain they're going to come back and ask for the documentation. So you're probably not going to win. So the point being is you really want to make sure that you do that, you get that return done right the first time. Otherwise, an amended return you're going to need documentation. Now, you can do what is called a superseded return. I should throw this in. A superseded return is something in between an amended return and an original return. If you have an extension in through October 15th, this is really important to know. We can do a superseded return without supporting documentation, meaning we just put in the documents that were missed the first time around, and we file it before October 15th. But the caveat is, the requirement is that you had to have had an extension put in before April 15th of this year. But so that is another way that we can, it's kind of an amended return, but not the same because we don't need to provide the documentation. So yeah, we get a lot of questions about amended returns that if we can, we'll do superseded returns on.
Well, that's good information. Because I think there are a lot of people out there that do their taxes, and they've got questions. A lot of people out there that probably didn't do their taxes and they got questions, and they just need to know that the office is open. Information is here. There are options. There are things that you can do, things that you need to be doing. And so you got to make the phone call, guys, 708-991-2440. The thing that you're going to get from this segment is that Mike has seen it all. He gets just about every kind of tax dilemma that a person is entangled in. And so he has experience in getting people untangled from that, right? More importantly, dealing with the IRS is tricky. And you need to rely on somebody that's got a relationship. I say this every week on this segment, right? Somebody's got a relationship, somebody that knows the IRS and knows how they operate. The good news is IRS is trying to get these files off their desk, right? But you got to have somebody who knows how to help them get those files off their desk, and that's what Fidelity and Associates do. And that's why this segment is so useful to you. Not just your taxes too, like we talk about all the time, and business endeavors. Some of your books might be upside down, or you're not sure if you're doing your accounting right. You might be losing money by not doing your accounting right. Are you paying attention to your books and every kind of provision that's there for you as a business person to take advantage of? You need to know those provisions. They exist. As a small businessman, most of you out there are small businessmen. A lot of you are property owners out there. You got income property. You might be thinking about getting another income property. How all this plays out, don't make assumptions about your taxes, about your business filings and things like that. Call a professional and ask the questions, guys. We just did a story about Floyd Mayweather and writing a check for $200,000 and not having the money in the bank. How does that happen to somebody like a Floyd Mayweather that's got a ton of money? How's he write? And I get he's probably got I'm sure he's got several accounts all over the place. In fact, he's writing a check for $200,000 and it's bouncing, means that he and his accountant aren't working together. His team.
He probably needed to move money from somewhere. He probably does have like 10 accounts and probably like 6 or 7 businesses, maybe more. And it's easy to say, oh man, I needed to transfer money and I didn't, and he forgot. It's very possible. It does happen. In fact, it's happened to me, but the last second I can transfer money in literally like 30 seconds. So Yeah, that to people who have money, that happens quite a bit actually.
Yeah, because I'm sure they've got money all over the place. They've got stock, they've got assets, right? And it's just a matter of, I mean, look, if I was somebody like Floyd Mayweather, made the money that man made over the years, I'm damn near talking to my accountant every day.
1,000%.
Okay.
And no, go ahead.
No, at least I know every week we're talking about, how to protect money, how to buy stock, how to, if I do this, what's the penalty for doing that? I mean, I'm gonna be talking to my guy every week, right? At least, man, if you're a Floyd Mayweather, you got to be talking to your accountant every week,
Absolutely.
And now he's facing charges, right? And of course, out there in Vegas, man, as good as that man has been for the city of Las Vegas in terms of drawing revenue with his fights and to that industry, you would think he could be all right, but you never know, man. They like sending people to jail that have a lot of money to make examples of them.
Well, and on top of that, if you do something for somebody, you'd be surprised how little they are there for you. When something's going down, and so all the people he helped over there, it makes sense to me. I get it. But another thing people call in about is the notices they get, especially when they're 2025 or 2024, they get what's called a CP 2000 letter, which is income that was reported to the IRS that they did not report. So, that's a big one, and we have to either file an amended return or just tell the client, just accept the results and let them make the adjustments and, call it a day. But yeah, we get the IRS letters, balance due letters. We do what's levy block. So if you get what's called an LT11 letter, which is the final letter you're going to get before you're levied, we can block that, which what's called a collection due process request. And we do that all the time. For $500, we can block your levy for about 9 months. So, we charge $500 for that, but it'll at least buy you some time to figure out what you want to do rather than getting a wage levy or a bank account levy.
Okay.
So what's that?
I said, okay. I mean, that's money well spent. I think one of the things to try to convince people of is the personal investment. If you're a business person, and you're a businessman, you spend money to make money, right? One of the things I find in some small businesses, they will dot their I's and cross all of their T's to get the business open, but they don't necessarily dot all their I's and cross all their T's to keep the business open, right? And it's like you do everything to open the doors, and then you forget about marketing and asset management and inventory control and having an accountant, right? Probably the most important thing about being a businessman, right, is having an accountant, somebody that's watching your money, making sure that you don't have internal theft going on and stuff like that, man. So a lot of times I see business people, they do everything to get the business open, and then once business is open, they don't do the things necessary to keep the business open, and that's why a lot of businesses fail.
1,000,000%. You bring up another one, marketing. I mean, nowadays, of course, I've learned about how important social media is. I mean, I've really incorporated it into my whole marketing strategy. But it's really inexpensive. You open up an IG account or a if you can, websites are really cheap nowadays too. So you open up a website, and mostly more important is an Instagram account, a TikTok account. I prefer Instagram because that has a much broader reach. But it costs nothing to open it up, and you start posting videos about your business, make it interesting to people, and you're going to get followers, and you're going to get views, and you're going to get people that, as long as you put your business out there. And I recommend, don't just talk about your business like a lot of people do. Actually, show a video of you working. That's what I do. I literally show a video of me on the phone with the IRS, real time, and trying to fix a problem. And I'll even say, like, I've been on hold for like, an hour and 45 minutes. And then I'll show the picture that I was on the phone for an hour and 45 minutes with the IRS. So like, I actually show the work that I do because people want to see, let's see like what you do. Let's see the work. So I really recommend people to, dovetailing off what you said. Yeah. Every aspect of business, but especially I see now marketing is so important. You got to get your name out there.
Oh, you got to get your name out there, man. That's the most important. You can have a business that's providing a good service or product and nobody knows about it. And we see that happen all too often, man. And I'm not talking about just small businesses. I've seen big businesses fail in that respect, man. They invest a lot of money into getting the product to market. And then once they get to market, they fail, to put money aside for the marketing of the product while it's there. And that's a big deal, man. That'll get you out of business in a year, or less, depending on what your situation
Absolutely.
is. Guys,
Absolutely.
give the office a call, 708-991-2440. If you have a question right now, you can call in, and as long as it's a question that is answerable, but nothing replaces to actually making the appointment. Talking to Mike, talking to somebody from the office, and for you to just be able to lay it all out, what's going on, what your tax situation looks like, being honest with your accountant, and letting them do what they do. This is what Mike Fideli does for a living, everybody. So we want you to blow up his phone at 708-991-2440. Make the appointment. Let him do an assessment of your tax situation and get this burden off your shoulders, right? I know we always try to cut corners, man, but when you're talking about your taxes, that's not the space you want to be cutting corners in, guys. So we have a responsibility not only to yourself, your business, if you're a business owner, to your employees that you are employing there, tenants, if you are a building owner. You want to make sure that you're keeping this business afloat, keeping it right, and doing the best job that you can. Your reputation is everything, guys. Reputation is everything out here when you're a business person. And even if you're just an average taxpayer, you want to make sure you're doing it right. And more importantly, you want to make sure that you're getting back the money that you are supposed to be getting back. Tax code always changing. You just never know what you could be getting back and how that can help, of course, as always. Yeah. So the phones, so Mike's phones are ringing. So we'll just make sure that you're making a call. Go ahead, Mike.
No, so obviously also people are calling about, when they can get their business returns done. So let's just give a time frame here. Your business returns are due September 15th. Your individual returns are due October 15th if you were on extension. If you didn't, for some reason, put your business on extension, you might be subject to the $255 per shareholder penalty per month. If you're our client, we automatically put you on extension, so you should be okay. But typically, most people, many people don't put their returns on extension, especially the business returns, but we do know how to get you out of that. There's various ways under the first time abatement program and other ways I know how to get you out of this penalty. So even if you didn't file the extension on your business, and you get that penalty, give us a call and I'm pretty sure I can get you out of that penalty for a very small fee.
There you go. He's talking to you out there. If you have received a letter in the mail from the IRS, right? Take that letter seriously, right? As soon as you give Mike a call, let him know what the letter says so he can plan out a strategy for you and let you know what your next move is, right? That is very important. Just take the number down and put it in your phone, 708-991-2440, 708-991-2440. What are your office hours, Mike?
Office hours are 9 to 5:30. But, recommend people, if you want to do a walk-in, you can just come walk in around 9:30. We take walk-ins too. Might have to wait a little while sometimes, but we definitely take walk-ins. Or you could just drop your documents off and we'll copy your documents. We don't like to take people's originals and just leave. If you could wait, we'd copy your documents, you can go. And then, when we ask you to come back when things are done, you just come back and we take care of business right there.
All right. I love it, guys. 708-991-2440. Fideli and Associates. Mike, enjoy the rest of your week, brother. Enjoy the weekend.
Brother.
Yep, and we'll be back at it on next Wednesday, same time, same station at 2:30. My brother, and I look forward to talking to you then.
Yeah, brother.
All righty. That's all I have for you guys today. Thanks to Senator Tammy Duckworth, our brother Bomani Obadeli, also Eleanor Gorski. She came on with us early in the show from Chicago Architecture Project. We're going to have her back on the show. She's doing a panel on Saturday at the Obama Center and talking to the architects. That should be great. But enjoy your Wednesday. Everybody, don't go anywhere. Tiba and LaDonna Ray coming up next.
Happy Wednesday afternoon, Chicago. I'm Logan Page, and here are your news headlines. Senator Duckworth discusses Iran deal, Juneteenth, and Obama Center. Severe weather moves through Chicago. Avondale rental townhomes to replace vacant lot after getting city council approval. Higher prices hit used car shoppers, and AI speeds race to save important species. National news from the Black Information Network is up next on Chicago's only urban talk radio station, 1690 AM WVOM, Berwyn, Chicago.
Here's VIN News Now. The city of Chicago is celebrating Juneteenth. Tuesday, Mayor Brandon Johnson and other city leaders gathered for the annual Juneteenth flag raising ceremony.
It was a celebration of liberation, a celebration of resilience, and a celebration of people who never stop believing in a just and a better tomorrow.
The federal holiday commemorates the ending of slavery in the United States. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine says the Buckeye State should abolish the death penalty. DeWine said he no longer believes capital punishment deters murder, citing waits of more than 20 years between sentencing and execution. DeWine says state lawmakers would have to take action to end the death penalty. And Mystical is being sentenced to 20 years in prison after pleading guilty to raping a woman in his home in Louisiana in 2022. The victim was in court Tuesday and asked for the maximum sentence. I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News. Now, back to you, Terry.
President Trump speaking out on efforts to end the war with Iran.
We have our deal done with Iran, and it should be successful. It goes to a second stage, which I think will be actually easier.
Following a meeting with the Emir of Qatar on the sidelines of the G7 summit in France yesterday, Trump told reporters that the U.S. would not be investing in Iran, despite what he called a rumor making the rounds. Back at home, the Senate just barely rejecting a war powers resolution on Iran. Black Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia led the action.
After 109 days of a failed war, and now a fragile, temporary, but welcome truce, will my Republican colleagues choose today to finally stand up to this president? Will my colleagues say enough is enough to the president who ran as a candidate promising no new wars?
Senators rejected a motion to discharge the resolution out of committee in a 47-48 vote, and lawmakers are pushing for more information about terms in the deal, which would direct the president to remove the United States Armed Forces from hostilities within or against Iran unless authorized by a declaration of war. Congress passing the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act in 2015, it stipulates that any deal relating to Iran's nuclear program must be submitted to Congress prior to sanctions being lifted. California Governor Gavin Newsom is facing over $31,000 in fines for failure to report millions of dollars in charitable donations made on his behalf in time. He was fined by the Fair Political Practices Commission a week before he announced a federal investigation targeting he and his wife. The $5.6 million in donations, known as behested payments, came from 35 donors, including Apple. Most of the money went to the California Fire Foundation during the Los Angeles wildfires last year. Over a third of Americans are projecting a grim view of the nation's future, according to a newly released Reuters Ipsos poll. 38% of respondents said the U.S. is not going to exist 250 years from now, while 62% thought it would. Taking a look along party lines, 40% of Democrats said the U.S. will not endure for another 250 years, and 26% of Republicans agreed. Polling also found 64% of respondents said American democracy was in danger of failing,